Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. All right, loosey-goosey edition. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Try not to miss anything, all right? Get it together. But if you do, all right, I'll make an allowance. Go to ESPNTallahassee.com. You can listen live via the streaming, but if you miss it, go back, get caught up at your leisure. We'll post it both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. And when you go there, you'll note that it is brought to you with limited commercial interruption thanks to my man, CarltonDean.com. Go there to listen, learn more about commercial real estate. Email the show if you want. It's jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow. WTSM app works for your mobile devices. That's a good thing. Devices. That's just fun to say. Devices. I could just say that over and over again. It's ridiculous. JCS at 979espnradio.com and Twitter at jcameronshow. And also, we're on YouTube. That's a good thing. Type in ESPN Tallahassee.
You don't want to leave that person to his own
devices.
There it is.
Get off them damn devices, Ted.
That's where the Southern Woody Harrelson crept in there.
A little bit. It's a default. I don't know how that happens. It's not unintentional, but it's all right. If you're going to default to Woody Harrelson, it's okay. Because I like Woody Harrelson.
You don't have to do this.
Which always cracked me up, by the way, because now you just referenced No Country for Old Men, but what does he think's going to happen there? That's just such desperation, right? I mean, my man.
No, Javier was so disappointed there.
Oh, he's mad. Like,
because you're
with some dignity. What do you are?
You've been full of dignity. That's your whole shtick, is that you get the game better than anybody else. And now in the last moment, you're going to be a coward? Lovely.
Yeah, no, he was not happy about that. He was pissed about that. All right, so what I'm not happy about is what you're not happy about, but maybe you don't know about it. Maybe, just maybe, you hopped in your car, you said, screw it, I'm done with work. 3 o'clock on a Friday is late enough. I'm going to go to the house or the watering hole of my choice, perhaps meet up with some friends and have some appetizers and enjoy that along with a frosty cold one. I don't know. But there you'll surely discuss the arrest of one Devante Phillips, Florida State junior wide receiver, suspended indefinitely following his arrest today on 5. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 theft and fraud-related charges.
That's not what you do. 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 That's not what you do.
No, it is not what you do.
That was 5.
Oh, no, I got it.
Yeah.
For those at home that weren't counting. Florida State head coach Jimbo Fisher announcing today that junior receiver Devante Phillips has been indefinitely suspended from the football team in accordance with the athletic department policy. The university stated that in a press release. He will have no further comment at this time, nor would you need to. According to the Leon County Jail, Devante Phillips was charged with 1 count of grand theft, so that's more than $300 but less than $5,000. 4 counts of fraudulently making bank deposits with intent to defraud. Bond was set at $1,000 for each of the charges, which are all felonies at this point. That was earlier this afternoon. If you look at it big picture here, I don't know what happened there, so we'll wait and see how this plays out. Obviously doesn't sound good, doesn't read well for Devante Phillips. Doesn't seem like something that could be a mistake. Just me, like sometimes people get in fights or something, and it's crowded and crazy, and somebody says, I think he did it. And then somebody goes, no, it was him. And you go, well, it's murky. I don't know. Everybody, they're pointing fingers all over the place. Walking into banks trying to defraud them of thousands of dollars doesn't sound like something that would be a mistake.
Agreed, and I don't think it's talking out of school, but, over the span of a little time now, you hear rumors about any number of players. Players you least expect, players you might expect given reputations in the recruiting trail before they get to Tallahassee. But you dismiss them if there's nothing to go on. But when this came up today, I don't think anybody who's dialed into the program was shocked, And that sounds harsh, but you hear rumors along the way that you don't want to run with. This one is just, unfortunately, there was some veracity to some whispers from earlier on.
Yeah, this isn't good. I can just tell you this is not an official account, but I'm going on information that I have. And the information I have is that basically somebody reported that their wallet was missing and that there had been some activity. When you lose your stuff and you lose your credit cards and all that, and then there's activity in your account and you call the cops. Basically, that's what I'm saying here. And then, when somebody's trying to make deposits illegally with money that's not theirs, that kind of stuff, they get video of that, man. So probably good night, Irene. This seems like open and shut.
Well, yeah. And there's no doubt that from an immediate term standpoint, when you're charged with a felony, you can't practice, you can't play with the team. So,
right, we can end the speculation and just say what we do know is that young man isn't going to be playing football for Florida State anytime soon. And also, I guess it gives us a chance to kind of talk about Devante Phillips in this regard. He's had some injury trouble. He's also a guy that has been wildly inconsistent. He's been praised by Jimbo Fisher at times, and you kept thinking maybe he would emerge, that he'd be a kid that had a chance to really contribute quite a bit. And then when he got those opportunities, often he dropped the ball, literally. And so, spring wasn't good for him, and we remember the spring game where he was terrible. But you kept hearing from people that when he was right-minded and focused and worked hard, that he could play and that he was tough and that he had strong hands and that he wasn't afraid to be in the middle of the field and catch the ball in tight spaces and those kinds of things. So we all kind of just kept waiting for that to happen. He's appeared in 19 games in his career. He only has the 5 catches, though. And so he never showed any consistency or ability to take the next big step. Now, I hate this for him because, obviously, if he's guilty of this, that's terrible, and it's going to derail any career he had in the world of football, that's for sure, and perhaps he's no longer going to be in school, and you worry about a kid like that who is now facing an uphill climb. But at the same time, if we can get rid of that and speak specifically to what it means for Florida State this year, let's just say this. That's a thin receiving core, in my estimation, at least in terms of proven, consistent talent. They're going to need a younger player to fill a role there, or at least somebody that's not had to do it before. Now, do they have the horses? Let's start with Keith Gavin. That's a kid they were already going to ask to step up. There's a kid that we know, just looking at him, is infinitely talented. Right now, if you're trying to think in your mind who's Keith Gavin, maybe you're not an avid recruit, Nick, and you don't remember Keith Gavin all that well because he didn't catch passes last year. Well, think back to the Orange Bowl and him trucking that poor kid from Michigan after being indecisive as to whether or not to return the kick. He did, and he embarrassed somebody.
Oh!
Yes. So you saw the strength and the speed and the size for a kid at that position that you thought, wow, for as talented as he is, can he learn it? Can he figure it out? Can he get consistent? Because if he can, he has a chance to be a superstar. I mean that. And maybe he does. Maybe this is his year. They're going to need him. That's the guy, right? You're going to ask him to be out there along with Auden Tate and Nooney Murray. So the problem is, though, from a depth standpoint now, you would have thought Devante Phillips would be much further along than any of the incoming talent. Then again, George Campbell's healthy. And let's not forget George Campbell, who's been here, but oft-injured George Campbell, as we reference him, is a kid that is also very talented. Big target at 6'4". Jimbo was really excited about him when he arrived on campus, talked of his toughness, that kind of thing. But then he had a series of injuries, ultimately leading to the one that affected his core. And he had to have surgery. And so there was thought that maybe he would miss the year again this year. He battled injuries, all of that. But then a remarkable turnaround, really, from Jimbo Fisher saying in Charlotte that he thought Campbell may be out for an extended period of time still. And everybody kind of immediately took that to mean, man, this is headed towards a medical hardship at some point. When you're out this long after a surgery and you can't get right, eventually you expect to hear about medical hardships. And then lo and behold, you get the charitable event. They're lifting weights and flipping tires and running down the field, and we're taking pictures here raising money for kids with Fanconi anemia. And we're seeing George Campbell out there carrying 75-pound dumbbells, running with the best of them. So you think, oh, my gosh, maybe he's okay. Jimbo then cut to the press conference on Tuesday that we were at, and he says he's a full go. Good timing. Good time to be full go because they're going to need somebody like that to step up.
Yeah, bottom line is the receiving core was already thin. And when you're talking about proven talent, this really does nothing to change that because Devante was never really a proven talent. And when you're talking about Saturdays. But what it does do moving forward, frankly speaking, is it puts Florida State fans on high alert when it comes to camp and injury updates. Because the receiving core for the last couple of years, George Campbell leading the way, has been infinitely frustrating with the amount of injuries suffered. And the big talent that we had recruited from the last couple of years' worth of classes not being able to find its way onto the football field. It's not just Campbell from, a couple of years ago. It was also Auden Tate broke his foot. I mean, shortly after we implemented him into the game plan and there was a target for him, he was wide open in the end zone against Miami.
Overthrew him.
Well, that's a sign that he was starting to work his way into the rotation, right? He was going to be your fourth or fifth receiver. Then he gets hurt, has to shut it down. Campbell has a freak concussion injury, and then the core injury plagues Campbell for an entire year. Well, okay, now between now and the kickoff against Alabama, we're going through camp, and there's some rigorous work that's going to be done. We're on high alert because if you lose any one of those guys that are your top three right now, proven or otherwise, even though they're not, that's going to be a devastating blow. Your insurance policies are running out.
Phillips figured to be behind Auden Tate if you're looking at the X and the Z receivers. Phillips was behind Auden Tate, but would have gotten quite a few reps, one would think. Now behind Tate is Terry, who's a true freshman, 6'4". I've learned you can't really trust that you're going to get great contribution from a true freshman. It's not impossible, and it has happened, but it is kind of rare. And so we'll see if he steps up. There's the idea, of course, of George Campbell, who you just mentioned. DJ Matthews is very talented, but he's 160 pounds soaking wet. So I don't know that you're going to see him. So basically we're going to depend heavily on Naquan Murray, Keith Gavin, Auden Tate, and hope like hell one of these other guys, be it George Campbell, be it Tameron Terry, or maybe DJ Matthews, can step in.
Yeah, and I wonder, again, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It seemed crazy at the time, but maybe one of the tight end prospects can at least be flexed out in a 5-wide set. I mean, you got options. We have any number of running backs too, but maybe somebody you pull from another position group, tight end, running back, can be out there if you want to spread it out 4 or 5 wide and generate some looks. Just because you're a tight end doesn't mean you can't line up in the slot. Nick O'Leary did when he was here. Ryan Izzo has done it.
Maven Saunders is an unbelievable athlete. I'm going to keep harping on this. If the kid can toughen up and get his ass on the football field, he's an immense talent. I think the question mark with Maven Saunders has been frustration that Jimbo Fisher feels towards him because he hasn't been a football player. He's just an amazing physical specimen. He's already made some plays. You've seen him. Big, strong kid. One of these basketball players made into a football player that you see happen in the NFL where kids come out from playing college basketball, never having played it down of football, and then 2-3 years later, they're stud tight ends in the league because they're huge targets. They can run for their size. They got hands and athleticism, but they got to get used to the physical wear and tear of being a football player and sticking their head in there and being able to take a shot. Maven Saunders falls under that umbrella, but that's a talent, and now maybe you need that kid to step up big time.
And that's one thing that Jimbo hit on last night in his post-practice presser, which it looks like they're all now going to be at the podium.
Yeah, and he's going to meet, and they announced that, Tom, real quick to that point. They announced when we went, I know you were back here recording while I was at the press conference. Before that press conference started, they announced all of those post-practice interviews now are going to be in that room where the players' meeting room is.
It's smart.
And they're going to do it that way.
It gives Jimbo a chance to collect his breath. And
that's correct. That's right. It's also a good look.
It is a good look. Yeah, well, you get your sponsor mentions because you get the thing behind him.
Yeah.
But Jimbo was talking a lot about, the tight end position last night, and for people who follow football, it's nothing new. All he's mentioning is they might be your number one football player on offense because they have to block. They have to be able to go out and be a receiver. They've got to be able to block a 280-pound end, or they got to be able to keep up with and block a 200-pound defensive back. They have to do a little bit of everything. And one thing about Maven Saunders at this point, I mean, Jimbo does ask everything out of his tight ends. If he can get it all out of you, then he wants you to do a little bit of everything. But Maven has done a lot of work in the open portions of practice that the media has seen with the receiver groups. Like when it comes to working with, the walkthrough drills, he'll be with the receivers, the wide receivers in terms of their catching drills. So, again, you have other options outside of the wide receiver pool. It's just you don't want to have to go pull from that by necessity. You'd rather that be a muscle you can flex rather than one you have to use.
Yeah, really frustrating. And, it's also just terribly disappointing that you've had a quiet offseason. It's been an off-season where you haven't had to answer to any negative press or anything that's been a blight on what's happening. And so you thought, okay, camp has started. Once camp starts, things usually are in your rearview mirror, and you feel pretty good about where you're going. And then this happens. Listen, this isn't one of these things that's going to cause a national embarrassment. I mean, kids all over the country get in trouble on football teams everywhere, and especially if you're a second or third stringer. Let's just tell the truth here. It doesn't make a bunch of news. You'll just get a little blurb.
It will be on a Friday, though, before, football is being played even in preseason. It's going to be played. It's not going to be
How much did you watch last night? Speaking of the National Football League, I tuned in.
I ended up watching the second half. I forget what I was doing for the first half. Yeah, I watched the third quarter, although I had to put it on mute when Jerry was on. They were asking him everything, because
it became a tribute to Jerry Jones.
Yeah, that was annoying. But I watched the trench play. I saw some catches made. I saw some, broken tackles. I saw some downfield blocks. I saw some nice plays by defenders. I don't know any of their names. I don't recall any of them. I don't care. But it was nice to hear it. It's the sound. We talk about the ambient noise of baseball. I like that.
Yeah.
That little clash of the pads. It is nice.
Well, and also, the visual of football on your TV screen in the background, even if you don't care about the game, even if it's a nothing game like last night's game was. My wife ran up to the store after we got the kids to bed, and when she left, I was watching baseball. When she came back, football was on the screen. I was flipping back and forth. And she walked in, and she goes, "It started, hasn't it?" And she's just, indeed. Look at that beautiful sight, hon. She goes, "Here we go."
And did you feel any guilt in your heart?
No, none.
Attaboy.
No, I said it started. You're damn right. This will be on all the time. Almost every day you come home from this point forward, there'll be something like that on the big screen. You guys can take it to the back. We got TVs all over the house. And so it was great. And my kids were already asleep, so they don't know. But they love football anyhow, so they'll be all in. It was just her walking in, kind of looking in like, it started, hasn't it? Indeed.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Yamaha Star EV and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing car with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all of Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter US 19 South next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
So your AC is on the fritz? Call Barano Heating and Air Conditioning for help, day or night. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, 580-4029 or BaranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
This is a court-ordered notice. Current and former BMW, Mazda, Subaru, and Toyota owners or lessees can receive payments and other benefits from a legal settlement related to allegedly defective Takata airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to AutoAirbagSettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's AutoAirbagSettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens. $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m., 7 days a week, $7.95. Daily specials. Locally owned and operated since 1978. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill. 3 locations to choose from. 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl because we're the
Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers.
Hey, watch
Houston Oilers all the way.
Jeff, I will fight you.
Houston Oilers. That's their song. Why
No. First of all, they never went to a Super Bowl. It's our song. We're the only undefeated team.
Oh,
we're the only one that takes the ball goal to goal like no one's ever seen.
You and the rest of Miami holding on to the past, my friend. But you know what? September the 10th, it's on. Tampa Bay at Miami.
Not a chance. You know what that first loss feels like every year because you've never gone undefeated.
Houston Oilers.
All right, let's go. Dry-aged ribeye steaks. What do you say?
I'm in. Let's bet.
It's on.
Is Bumpa's going to be open yet?
Shh, Jeff. They don't know about that one yet.
It's coming soon. All right, Bucks.
Let's go fish.
Good times. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It's a weird scam from what I'm hearing, by the way, that you get like a MoneyGram or something from somebody else. And what happens is if you can deposit it and get your bank to take the money, to take the deposit and give you money, or if you cash it or whatever it is, then you give that person who gave you the fraudulent MoneyGram a portion of the money.
Kickback.
And you keep a portion of the money. So when police go to investigate this sort of thing, then they go and they want to find out who's making the deposits, who's cashing these fraudulent MoneyGrams or whatever they're called.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know,
I'm saying
in regards to whomever,
No,
whatever.
it's an asinine way to get caught doing something illegal you shouldn't be doing anyhow, of course, but in essence, calling the cops on yourself.
I don't know who you're talking about did that, allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, that's a crazy thing to do.
That's still wrap my mind around that because it would have to be an instant cash thing.
Right.
Not in your account deal. You know, it doesn't sit in the account.
Unless they put the money in there and then you take it out immediately or quickly take it out. I don't know.
For example, completely separate this alleged whatever that I don't even know who you're talking about.
Sure.
Might have done. If I call the credit card company and there are a bunch of, charges on my credit card that I didn't make, well, then they make you whole. They say, we'll send to the fraud department. These were made in, Georgia, or these were made in California. These don't make sense. So, okay, we'll take that off your ledger. We'll report it to the fraud department, and you're okay. Your balance is whole. Well, if I'm adding money to my account, unless I'm cashing and taking that cash with me right away,
but that's not
I don't
real
want them. Even if somebody was fraudulently putting a deposit in your account.
Right, but if you're trying to get them off of the scent, so if they're investigating these fraudulent MoneyGrams, let's say, that somebody in South Florida has used and somehow gotten cashed, and they're investigating that, and it leads them to something up here, and you want to take your name out of suspicion or remove yourself, you say, hey, there's some weird activity going on in my bank. I noticed all these deposits in my account that I didn't make. Maybe somebody might figure at that point that, oh, well, he called it in. He can't be involved.
Sure.
But then if they follow up to see who's making deposits and you're on the video.
Well, yeah, if that were to happen.
Right. Well, then you just call the cops on yourself and you're done.
Sharper image catalog. These are the kinds of things that can happen.
These are the kinds of things that may have happened or could happen. That's right. Allegedly. Yeah. Well, look, what's it matter now? I mean, at the end of the day, if let's say we were just talking about something that in some way is related to the player that has been suspended. I mean, really all we're talking about now is how that defines and moving forward what we do with the receiving core and who's involved, right? I mean, it's just, and that's all right now what I care to look at is this team is prepping for a pretty big game that we're going to obsess about more and more as the days go by. And does this have an impact on that game? Probably not. Probably not that big an impact on that game. Where it would have an impact is if you suffer injury. If you have problems at the receiving core as the year goes on, a guy who's been in the system and a guy who's at least played in 19 games is no longer available to you, and you're going to have to go to somebody that maybe you weren't counting on. That's where it affects you.
Yeah, once again, like I was saying last segment, I'm just on high alert. I'm very sensitive to hear if somebody missed practice. If Jimbo gets to the podium after a practice is over and he says, well, yeah, Nooney Murray got dinged. He'll be out a couple of days. Like, you don't even want to hear that because then all of a sudden you go, well, damn it, man. We can't have this. We can't have any one of our big three missing any time whatsoever. They're going to matter just a little bit.
It's the weirdest thing, man. As this stuff gets started, all you do is, okay, we get excited about football-related topics, football-related activity, football practices, coaches talking about football, and thus things that we're able to use as fodder that are of interest to all of our football-loving fans that listen to the program. And yet, in a strange twist, as it starts is when you get most nervous because now it's real and it's upon you. And B, football's a physical game. And guys get hurt. And so you spend an awful lot of time holding your breath that something doesn't happen like it did yesterday down in Miami with Ryan Tannehill. And at the time that we signed off yesterday, the non-contact leg injury looked like it was just going to be a scare. Now it looks like he's going to miss the year. Now they're talking about season-ending surgery. So the initial fear, which then was dismissed to some degree as just being a tweak or a slight fear, knee brace, all that, just a pain, is now being talked about as season-ending knee surgery. And now you're looking at options. Now your boy Moore is going to start for now, but obviously they got to bring somebody in. Of course, that's where the whole topic comes up regarding Colin Kaepernick. In truth, because Gase is their head coach, if they can convince him, they need to go the other route and bring in a guy that we thought had just retired and wasn't going to play football, but perhaps could be lured back into playing in Jay Cutler. who played for Gase in Chicago and had his best season in 2015, I think it was. 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, completed over 64% of his passes, was very, very good. And they have a working relationship. And in truth, if we're talking about bringing in backup quarterbacks, and this is really the impetus for the conversation surrounding Colin Kaepernick, is if you need a backup quarterback or in a pinch a guy to start 2 or 3 games, why not him? And then the discussion is the controversy and all that other stuff that comes with it. Well, in truth, I think we all would agree that if your choice is between him or Jay Cutler, you're taking Jay Cutler.
Yeah, you're taking Jay Cutler, and the question becomes then, is there paperwork to be filed? Did he start the process of retirement? Because I know there's a lot of red tape involved when you're trying to retire and unretire if you've actually filed the paperwork.
Right.
Wouldn't you pick up the phone and see if Tony Romo could maybe make a comeback? I get that Gase worked with Cutler, so...
I'm going Cutler. He knows what we're doing, and you know...
But it is still Jay freaking Cutler.
Well, your options are, if you bring in Colin Kaepernick, he sucks too. I mean, this is what we've been talking about. No matter who you're going to bring in, they're not any good.
But what if you could get Tony Romo? Just out of curiosity. I mean, that hasn't been floated out anywhere. But if that were an option...
47 neck surgeries later, I don't think he's coming back to play football, man. I think my guy's done. He's in the broadcast booth.
I know he is. Yeah, he's on the primetime team with Jim Nantz.
I'd almost want to bring Kurt Warner back before the Hall of Fame induction. I mean, that guy looks to be in tip-top shape.
For a game. Well, that's what I was saying last year for the Raiders. They should have gone after Brett Favre for one
game.
For
one game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gase is considered a quarterback guru, right? A quarterback guru. That's his whole thing. He had success with Peyton Manning. He had success with Jay Cutler. They've worked directly together with the Chicago Bears. It makes perfect sense to go grab a guy that you have a working relationship with and who, by the way, had his best season as a pro, or was second best season. His best season in Chicago. How about that? That's a better way of putting it. He had some good years in Denver. His best year as a Bear was with him. Go bring that guy in. From the pocket, he has good days. I mean, he'll stand there and sling it around. He's got a cannon for an arm. It's just that he also is wildly inconsistent. But anybody you're going to bring in this situation, which is without question a desperate situation, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, you just lost your starting quarterback. You're kind of screwed.
Yeah. No, I'd rather have a 1-2 punch of Cutler and Moore than Moore Kaepernick, because I think Moore would start if you signed Kaepernick. Kaepernick would still be your backup.
Right. Moore's good enough to beat him out. Sure, I agree with that.
And Moore knows the offense. You know, if you're going with seamless transitions.
Plus, I think he's better.
I agree.
So there's that.
But, yeah, I totally agree with the logic. And to footnote it, Schefter yesterday really wasn't in on the breaking news side of the story, and I found that interesting until he was involved in the storytelling, and that was that Tannehill has a couple of options. One of the options is to let this thing heal again for 6 to 8 weeks, and then reassess where he's at and see if he can play during the season, or if they might as well just call it a day and surgery is the best option. It sounds like everybody is trying to tell Ryan surgery is the best option because when he tweaked the knee last year, he didn't fully repair what happened. So
this was a ticking time bomb that they hoped wouldn't go off and then did in the very first attempt to scramble, basically, in practice. And so he should have had the surgery prior, but I get it. Surgery's invasive. It can suck, and you don't want to do it if you can avoid it. And somebody probably told him maybe he could heal naturally or through rehab, whatever it might be. But the point is now they're saying even if he can wait it out, he's going to miss significant time. At that point, when you tell me that if my guy sits out and doesn't have surgery, and what, he's going to join me in week 8, week 9? Man, get the hell out of here. Go have surgery. What are we doing? You should have had it last year.
Yeah, this sounds like a very New York Mets-style move here because, again, part of his game is being able to extend plays. I mean, he's not a scrambling quarterback, but his legs are a weapon.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. He used to be a receiver.
Exactly. So you might want to start the clock on being able to use that again because if you play the 6 to 8 week route and then you get back on the field, the next time he breaks the pocket for a 6-yard gain, everybody's going to be holding their breath because,
Matt Moore is not a terrible backup. Matt Moore is one of the best situations you could have if you have a starting quarterback go down and you got to go to a backup. Now, here's the problem. Again, this is always relative, right? He is a backup quarterback. He might be the best of the best backup quarterbacks that are out there, but there's a reason he's pretty much a journeyman career backup guy or, clipboard guy. When he gets opportunities, he's not awful, but he's also not a high-caliber starter in the league. So you may have the best scenario imaginable when your starting quarterback went down and that you have a more than serviceable backup in Matt Moore, but your season's lost. Let's make no mistake here. You just lost a starting quarterback in the National Football League that would start for a lot of teams, and you are now starting Matt Moore, who would not. So you take a huge step back, and it's tough. That's really hard if you're a Dolphins fan, and I hate it now that I'm older. What happens is you realize these seasons, man, you cherish these seasons. There's only 16 games, and you wait these off seasons to come around to football being back in your life. And, if you lose your starting – if Jameis Winston, knock on wood, but if Jameis Winston goes down, it's over. We're done. What are we talking about? It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter who their backup was. It's over.
Yeah, it's a hollow Sunday. You're watching, but you're not really watching, if that makes sense.
Right, and so that's tough. I mean, now, and again, people will say, well, wait a minute now, Jeff. Tony Romo went down in Dallas, and they ended up having a season that they thought could be cashed into a Super Bowl. It turned out so. Yeah, you're going to name the outlier. I got you. And there are a lot of other pieces in play there. They have the best offensive line in football. They have a stud running back. You have a all-world wide receiver and a Hall of Fame tight end. You had a lot of things going for you.
Yeah. Oh, kind of like when Tom Brady went down and Matt Castle won 11 games.
Yeah, 11-5.
The Patriots tend to do things at a pretty high level. I don't know if you've taken a look at the record books when Matt Castle wasn't their starting quarterback, but it appears that they know how to win football games independent of one player. So, yeah, the Dolphins aren't that. That's not what the Dolphins are.
Well, nobody else in the league is.
The good news is that it happened now. So you can go through your 4 preseason games with Matt Moore. Or if you get Cutler, turn him around real quick, and he can get 3 preseason games worth of work in. If it happened in week 3 of the preseason, and this is in the actual course of playing the game, you've got to scramble and put together a game plan you never thought you had to prepare for. But if you're at least you have a capable backup, you like what you have in Ajayi, you have some good receivers there in Miami. The defense isn't bad when it tries. So they have some pieces. You have a month to get it all together.
What you're describing is why I do feel for him. Because all those things you just said are true, and now they lost their starting quarterback. So none of it matters. They're screwed. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. There's nothing you can sing that can't be sung.
It's All You Need Is Love by the Beatles.
Just like North Florida and South Georgia love their Mahindra tractors, right, Brent?
Absolutely right. When TNT Supercenter put the 40 horsepower Mahindra 4540 tractor on sale last month for $11,995, our customers couldn't get enough. So we're doing it again this month.
Tell me about your Beat the Heat special.
The Mahindra 2538 cab tractor with a loader has an air-conditioned cab plus tons of extra features like four-wheel drive, free-range, hydrostatic transmission, power steering with a tilt wheel, a 7-year limited warranty. And did I mention air conditioning?
You did, but Brent, how much?
Just $297 a month with zero down with approved credit.
No wonder Mahindra is the best-selling tractor in the world. TNT Supercenter is really on a mission.
TNT Supercenter and Mahindra tractors on a mission to help everybody lift more, push more, and pull more.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Our lifetime warranty is a game changer for buying cars in Tallahassee and Thomasville. You already know it extends the factory powertrain for unlimited time and unlimited miles. But here are the facts. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty is backed by Great American Insurance Company, an A-rated company that was founded in 1872 with billions in assets. The same company that underwrites GM's GMPP and Ford's Gap Insurance. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty comes with every new Nissan we sell and most pre-owned vehicles that are 5 years old or newer with 50,000 miles or less. While Kraft Nissan's service department will certainly exceed your expectations and keep your records, you're not required to service with us. To maintain the warranty, you perform the manufacturer's recommended maintenance and keep your records. You can do that at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. It's that easy. What's the catch? There are no catches, hidden fees, or gimmicks. Kraft Nissan provides the product as an added value to our customers for doing business with us. So when you're ready to buy from Kraft Nissan, the home of our original and the only real lifetime warranty at no charge. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Tallahassee SportsCenter.
On Lee Gordon, is Jimbo Fisher softening up a little bit? Well, Sunday's practice will be open to the public. That's unheard of in this day and age of college football, but the Noles are trying to give fans a little sneak peek at what they have this year. Fan Day and Media Day are also this weekend. Well, we did have football last night. It was the NFL Hall of Fame game. The Cowboys won the game against Arizona. It was ugly, but at least it was the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, the Dolphins could be in a world of hurt if Ryan Tannehill does not come back for the rest of the season. Matt Moore is taking the snaps with the first team today. They also have the opportunity of tossing around ideas like Colin Kaepernick and maybe Jay Cutler. Florida State volleyball looking good this year. They are ranked number 2 in the ACC, while Seminole Soccer, one of the national powers, will start the season ranked 15th in the country.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Oh! Brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. A fine Libations Friday to you and yours. Loosey-goosey edition of the program. Don't know if you're in Tallahassee while you listen to this show, but if you are, stay safe. The heavens have opened up. It's hideous outside.
Perhaps it's the hells that have opened up, Jeff.
Man, I don't like to kickstart my Fridays with a deluge. That's not what we do. I want to spend some time outside throwing the baseball around, or the football around in this case, and enjoying the company of my kids.
Yeah, what time of year is it for the kids? It was seasons for me, so what season is it right now on August the 4th, being that it's summer and all?
It's really weird. The kids have done gymnastics this week, but which they've thoroughly enjoyed. But right now we're still throwing baseballs. still throwing baseballs and still hitting baseballs, and we haven't moved over to football just yet. I will also note, by the way, with that transition, isn't that strange? The internal clock, your brain flicks a switch and thinks about the world, and in particular sports, very differently, magically one day. It's just, it goes to, like, you'll wake up thinking of a specific sport, and it will preoccupy your time and your thoughts throughout the day. And then suddenly, it transitions. Like, when does your brain begin to think about hockey?
Usually,
because you're for people that don't know, you're a huge hockey guy. I love hockey, but my brain never flicks the switch to hockey. It's just, I know hockey's going to be starting because it's always starting. Hockey, they get very little time off, or so it seems to me, and I always joke about that for such a brutal game. But then something happens along the way, and you'll come in, since we've become close, you'll come in and go, started practice, and then it's on my radar, but the flick of the switch that I'm talking about, where you're envisioning games and things, that doesn't happen for me except for in baseball, football, and college basketball.
College basketball?
Yeah, when FSU starts practicing, I'll have this moment throughout a day. Every now and then will just pop into my head like, college basketball, we got some games coming up soon. I'll start thinking about it, but I don't do it really with any other sports beyond those three.
Well, that's a fun respite just for FSU basketballs. Yeah, I don't equate it with the sport. I just equate it with, all right.
Yeah, it's my own thing. Right, yeah, I'm the same way. All right.
I'd say mid to late September. So let's say between Miami and NC State week this year, I'll be paying attention to cutdowns because there's a lot of camp battles. And then I love watching opening night, the first game of the year, which is usually a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Yeah.
And then I will watch casually for the next 3 weeks. And then once we get into around Thanksgiving time,
then it's like it's time to get really ratcheted up. Yeah.
What I long for, since you brought up, you flick the switch, and you're talking about throwing the ball around in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I missed most in college, actually, is there were Saturday mornings where I can still see the apartment. We used to live out off San Luis and Tharp. And it would be a Saturday morning. It was a little chilly outside, overcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. We've already had our first couple of beers, and game day's on.
Windows are open.
Windows are open. We may have already played a game of NCAA, which was awesome.
A lot of times it's on mute or something. You get some music going, too.
Got some music going.
People come in.
But then we're out in the street, and we're throwing the football back and forth.
Yeah, good times.
I mean, that's even before the game. It was that 45 minutes to 2 hours, depending upon how early we got up that day. That's what I miss the most about college. It's not the tailgates. It's those little things that signify we are in the middle of the best part of the year.
Early mid-'90s, I'll always remember, and it's a similar thing I think about as we get set to go to football on the mind all the time, of a St. Augustine, close to the Civic Center. You can almost – there is a set of – they're still there. I don't think they have a name. They probably do, but I never noticed it. Anyhow – there's a set of kind of townhouses that are there, and two dear friends lived in two of them. And we basically spent, I had my own apartment, but I spent almost every waking moment at one of those two townhouses. Really, we would spend days in the parking lot of that, grilling out, doing things, throwing a football around, cold weather stuff, drinking beers from the keg, cranking music, walking over to see basketball games. And then also, of course, walking from there to football games and doing all. It was just absolutely the best. Yeah.
Yeah, for the home games, at that point I was working with the old place. So I'd be at Langford and we'd be doing the pregame shows and stuff. But it was those away Saturdays. And this has nothing to do with the beer itself. But there was something about opening the fridge and seeing a full fridge ready for a weekend of football. And you go, oh, yes. It's that time again, my friends.
It's funny, the power, if we were getting into a larger topic here and a more serious one, think about how good a job alcohol, beer companies have done in connections between football, your viewing experience, your weekends in college, in post-college, and how those two are always inseparable. And you would say certainly that that's a problem. Right? It's amazing that we all kind of do that. Because I have those same memories, opening a fridge. And back in those days, the craft beer industry hadn't boomed. And so what you would see is just domestic. You'd see Bud Light, you'd see Coors Light, you'd see whatever, Rolling Rock or something like that. And I can still remember seeing fridge fulls of Coors Light and thinking, all right. But it's crazy that they're tied together like that. I mean, if you're healthy and balanced and you can just do things for the sake of doing them, and I'm not being preachy because believe me, I'm the other way. But what I'm saying is we ought not equate those two as always belonging to one another, and yet we do.
No, but it was, okay, here's why I liked it, because everybody had their own. Like my buddy Chris Pinson would drive over, and he would drink because we were college kids.
You're
so it was
poor.
all crap.
Yeah.
But he preferred Busch Light, so that's what
that
he
was
would
his
bring.
thing. Yeah.
And it was in a plastic bag, and it was tied, and that would be like his.
That's
sixer.
his stash. Yeah.
And then there's like a 12er and a 6er, and it's just it symbolizes that everybody is here for the day. And we were lucky enough, man. We had a great setup. We had 3 or 4 TVs, depending upon how good the weekend slate was. And it was like 180 degrees of awesomeness because everyone had their own cable box. We had the long cords, the long
you got to
HD
do it up.
cords.
And in some ways, what you're describing, and I do this every year, even still, you really kind of, it's strange to how to explain it. Your affinity for the weekend, it's always there during football season because there's always football on. But there is a shift in what you need in any given time. Sometimes you need back-to-back road games. Like you just long for a couple of weeks to enjoy all the games in a relaxed setting with your friends, flipping around, watching a bunch of TVs, stepping out for a while if there's a boring game on at noon or 3:30 or whatever, and not feeling the urgency that comes from home Seminole weekends. Now, those belong unto themselves, and they're amazing, and I can't wait to walk into Doak this year, but sometimes the road game, man, is just what you need.
Your family's coming in this weekend. Your friends coming up from Gainesville the other weekend or Jacksonville or Tampa. You're hosting, and there's stresses that come with that.
A lot of you got to be on, and that's hard, right? Because you want to do it upright, and you want to enjoy each other's company, and you want to be invested in the conversation in those moments. But there are 17 people and things to think about on home weekends, whereas an away weekend, man, that is whatever you want it to be.
Well, that's why I say that, I sound like Jimbo again. That's why I say. But the Pac-12 window, I've grown fond of it because that's typically when work is done, and I could go up to the CP if I want to, or I can have people over, and we're just watching the late window. We're talking about everything we saw because work's over, because we haven't done work. And don't get me wrong, I can't wait for Bama. Miami weekend's going to be great, and NC State's a really important game. But when we have Wake on the road and Bye and Duke,
it's a nice little run.
That's going to be a nice little respite that we can all participate. You and I and everybody working, in the sport can kind of just participate in that.
I think everybody does that thing, too, together. If it's especially somebody dear to you in your family or your closest friends, you actually will do the thing where you say, like if they live out of town and you're talking about when you're getting together, what games they're coming to and all that, you'll say, listen, why don't you come up when we're at Wake on September the 30th? Why don't you come up here and just hang out, and we'll grill out, we'll chill, we'll stock the fridge with food and beer and have a great time, and bring your wife and kids, and we'll just hang out here, and when we're at Wake or the bye week or when we're at Duke, as you just mentioned, October the 14th, or at Boston College on a Friday night, October the 27th. That game's played. You got the whole weekend then when you don't even have to worry about your away game. You're watching all Saturday for anything but us. It's great.
I heard a rumor that Brewfest is that Saturday.
What a wondrous rumor.
Yeah.
That's a good Saturday.
Could be.
Good times. Might happen.
Could it be?
Maybe. All right. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with it.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Team.
Oh,
we're the only one that takes the ball goal to goal like no one's ever seen.
You and the rest of Miami holding on to the past, my friend. But you know what? September the 10th, it's on. Tampa Bay at Miami.
Not a chance. You know what that first loss feels like every year because you've never gone undefeated.
Houston Oilers.
All right, let's go. Dry-aged ribeye steaks. What do you say?
I'm in. Let's bet.
It's on.
Is Bumpa's going to be open yet?
Shh, Jeff. They don't know about that one yet.
It's coming soon. All right, Bucks.
Let's go fish.
Good times. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
So your AC is on the fritz? Call Barano Heating and Air Conditioning for help, day or night. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, 580-4029 or BaranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
This is a court-ordered notice. Current and former BMW, Mazda, Subaru, and Toyota owners or lessees can receive payments and other benefits from a legal settlement related to allegedly defective Takata airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to AutoAirbagSettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's AutoAirbagSettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens. $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m., 7 days a week, $7.95. Daily specials. Locally owned and operated since 1978. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill. 3 locations to choose from. 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
On Lee Gordon, is Jimbo Fisher softening up a little bit? Well, Sunday's practice will be open to the public. That's unheard of in this day and age of college football, but the Noles are trying to give fans a little sneak peek at what they have this year. Fan Day and Media Day are also this weekend. Well, we did have football last night. It was the NFL Hall of Fame game. The Cowboys won the game against Arizona. It was ugly, but at least it was the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, the Dolphins could be in a world of hurt if Ryan Tannehill does not come back for the rest of the season. Matt Moore is taking the snaps with the first team today. They also have the opportunity of tossing around ideas like Colin Kaepernick and maybe Jay Cutler. Florida State volleyball looking good this year. They are ranked number 2 in the ACC, while Seminole Soccer, one of the national powers, will start the season ranked 15th in the country.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Happy Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program. Yeah. Have fun with it, right? Email the show if you like. It's JCS at 97.9ESPNradio.com. We're on Twitter at JCameron Show. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. And if you miss any portion of today's program, go find it again upon the conclusion. We'll post all 3 hours, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Bad news out of Florida State today. If you're just joining us, unfortunately, Devante Phillips, wide receiver, is suspended indefinitely and charged with, and been arrested and charged with felony counts of fraud. And that's not good news, obviously. We'll wait and see what happens. But obviously, anytime a player gets arrested and charged with felonies, they can't participate, they can't play. And that means that an already pretty thin group, relatively thin group at wide receiver gets thinner. That's the bad news. That's not what you want at the start of camp.
And just to do a roundabout of the reports that are circulating right now, the key terms involved are stolen wallet report from Phillips and Western Union checks, perhaps, wired money, whiteout, different amounts, security camera footage. That's kind of where we are right now, but it's still in the alleged phase. But, you know, when you're charged with a felony, yes, it is university policy, and so Devante will not be participating with the team in practice or game functions until the completion of that process. And if the completion is favorable, then we'll get to that bridge when we get there.
I'd be surprised if he ever plays football again for Florida State. Personal opinion there. I don't think it's a big reach to say that a guy who's been somewhat in the doghouse before this event has this happen. I'm not assuming guilt or innocence. I don't know. It doesn't sound good. Certainly seems dubious. I think he's going to have a real hard time. But that said, even if this all works out in his favor long term, I'm still going to be surprised if he's back on this football team. So somebody young or somebody unproven, or both, is going to have to step up and play well. We think that's possibly Keith Gavin, of course. You know, I've been very high on him since the day he committed, and you just stand next to him to wonder why. I mean, he's pretty amazing. And so let's see if that happens. By the way, if you stay healthy, you're still fine. That's the big problem with all of this, right, is that if somebody goes down, and knock on wood that does not happen, but if somebody gets hurt within that group, then, you know, you have some unproven guys. And here's the thing. Devante Phillips did play in 19 games. Wasn't all that productive. I think, the number of catches in his career is nominal, but he played in 19 games, so you would think he has a better understanding of what's going on within the offense than somebody brand new who hasn't played yet. That's all.
Yeah, Tate is the most proven guy you have from a I can play the entire season standpoint, but Nooney Murray has shown the most flash, and Keith Gavin has a play that we look at outside of those of us who are lucky enough to see practice or, you know, hear the reports of what's going on at practice and some of the flashes he's shown in those settings, where you go, that size, that speed, those hands, that's all in one person, well, you've got a real chance to steal the show as, the face of the offense, really. I mean, if he lived up to what his body type and skill set says that he can be, Keith Gavin could be the household name for the Noles that nobody knows right now if they're a casual fan, and everybody will know by heart by the end of the season. It's just, man, it's a long grind. Be ready for Alabama is the first box to check, and then from there, let's figure out who our rotation is going to be and who DeAndre Francois can count on week to week. Those are still they were going to be questions before Phillips ran into trouble.
Yeah, hopefully this doesn't serve as too big a distraction. I don't know that it will, frankly. This isn't that kind of a salacious crime that grabs the headlines. It's not good. If it's accurate, that's not good, obviously. But, I mean, it is a felony. But it's not the kind of thing that sees teams of reporters making their way to Tallahassee to constantly question coaches and athletic department staff and players. And he's not a star. So I think this stays relatively, I guess, under the radar. It gets announced today on a Friday. It'll kind of go away. It'll dissipate, and then they just go on with and they weren't really counting on him for all that much. So, yeah, I don't think it serves as a huge distraction. It's just more disappointing than anything else.
Yeah, it will be a headline for today, maybe early next week, because Florida State, Alabama is what ESPN is going to push. It is the premier Week 1 game. It's the greatest game in Week 1 of college football's history. But by the time you get to, I don't even know. I can't say two-a-days anymore. So by the time you get to the really, everybody's working in pads, going back and forth, and you have a scrimmage or two, and Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher have been available after those scrimmages. Yes, this will be a footnote at best.
NFL returned last night, and, I don't know how many of you stayed glued to it the entirety, but it did feel good to see that up on the screen again, just the NFL in the background as I kind of worked on some things, and I listened and watched off and on. But that's the indicator. The light is on, friends. You won't be going from this point forward a week without watching football. It is on from this point forward. And at least every 7 days, and sometimes sooner, mostly sooner. So you got that, and you got that working for you.
Well, you got Hard Knocks coming early next week, first episode for the Buccaneers, and then for us, because we're Bucs fans, it just happens to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Cincinnati, but either way, we're playing next Friday night. So this time next week, we're saying, hey, let's take a look and see what O.J. Howard brings to the table. Maybe the 10 snaps that Deshaun Jackson plays tells us something.
Exciting times, baby. That's good stuff. What's bad stuff, and I hate it for you, Dolphins fans, and I mean that non-sarcastically. I do hate to see this. Really, I hate it around the league. When you get excited about football returning, it's awfully tough to read about somebody suffering an injury at quarterback the first week of the season. And Ryan Tannehill gets hurt on a scramble. At first, they think it's just a minor tweak. He may miss a week or so, but it's not going to need surgery. Then you sleep on it. You get up this morning early, and you find out the reports are pretty gloomy. And if you haven't been paying attention today because you're working and sports isn't the entirety of your world, the latest report is that he's likely going to need, not guaranteed, season-ending surgery. Matt Moore moves up as the starting quarterback there, and that's a good backup. He'll give you some solid starts, win you some games that a lot of backups wouldn't, but he's not an elite quarterback or else he'd be a starter. And so bottom line is this does derail the season. Now the latest rumors, of course, will involve 2 or 3 backup quarterbacks or former starters in this league that they have an opportunity to bring in. That, of course, ties itself and marries itself to the Colin Kaepernick topic. They're not going to bring in Colin Kaepernick, and I think it has less to do with the controversy that it would cause. Although in Miami there would be a unique controversy given that Colin Kaepernick wore a Fidel Castro shirt. Why? Who the hell knows? But he did. And not going to be a good idea down in Miami.
What the hell is with the Castro thing, man?
Dumbasses not knowing their history?
Liberating people, Castro? Like, what?
Yeah, no, listen, that's a really interesting issue with Colin Kaepernick because, and I don't care to get into it now because we already have. But there are elements of what he's done that I absolutely understand and would even support. And then there are elements of what he's done that are absurd and, for lack of a better term, offensive. I don't get offended easily, but they're ridiculous. And then there's just the aspect of the football. So you kind of break all these down and you go one by one. And there's a ton of misinformation, by the way, with all of this too. But there are some things that he's done that, without question, unequivocally, are absurd that you could never support. No matter even if you were completely on his side about the original cause, you would never support some of the dumbassery that he's engaged in. And it would only be someone who isn't fully aware of the scope of the atrocities that Fidel Castro committed as a dictator. Go figure. You're right. Go figure. What the hell to say? So the point would be this. He ain't ended up in Miami.
He's not going to Miami.
He's not going to
That's the
Miami.
point.
Yes, the point is he's not going to Miami. And moreover, if you're signing a quarterback and Gase is a quarterback whisperer and he worked directly with Jay Cutler in Chicago and Cutler had his best year working with Gase in Chicago and Cutler decides he still wants to play football and you can lure him out of pseudo-retirement, whatever limbo he's in currently. I don't know if he ever announced officially that he was done.
I think he was supposed to be working broadcast crews, but it wasn't like the Tony Romo announcement.
Right. It wasn't an official I'm out of here or whatever. So the point would be this. If he still wants to play football and he can invest in it and he cares, well, he already knows what Gase does, and he had success with him, so that's a logical fit. Seems to me that's what you would do. You'd bring him in. You'd certainly bring him in over, say, Brock Osweiler. I mean, you're going to bring him in, and you got a chance to maybe win some games because at his best, he's pretty good. At his best, when he's playing his best, he's pretty good. Problem is, it's wildly inconsistent. When he's good, he's good. When he's bad, he's a special kind of bad. And then you throw in the mix that he often seems fairly indifferent about either the success or the failure. And that makes him tough to stomach. And that's why people have such a wide array of opinions about him. The point is the Dolphins season just got derailed the first week of practice. And I actually literally do hate that for him. That sucks.
Yeah, it's landmine season. That's where everybody, college and pro, you're bracing. And, Knowles fans, we got bad news today. But, again, I'll say it for the third time. I just now look at every time there's an announcement about a receiver in either a blue jersey or not participating in practice, and I go, okay, I'm going to hold my breath because that's where losing this depth put us. We were already counting on the same three people, and Phillips was not listed among the three receivers that we were counting on. But if you want to go 4 wide, if you want to go 5 wide at certain points of the season, you're going to have to pull from other places, either the freshman pool that you weren't expecting to contribute right away, another position pool at the running backs or tight ends, or I don't know.
We talked about Nathan Saunders is really the guy I think that could step up there, and I don't know. It's tough. But I think Saunders is a guy that I have the highest hopes for becoming more involved in the offense for whatever the reasons, whether it's an injury or somebody else. Somebody gets in trouble in this case, unfortunately. His skill set suggests he could be pretty dynamic. It's just that he has to embrace being a football player.
Open practice, if it's there, if it's available, weather permitting, all that kind of stuff on Sunday. It will be nice if we can see George Campbell running around without anything, any kind of limp, any kind of blue jersey, anything. Because wouldn't it be funny if 3 weeks from now, as we're approaching Alabama, the reports out of camp are that George Campbell is doing some things. He's one of our more solid contributors.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? I mean, we've been rooting for. Plus, I'm rooting for the kid, man. He's had so many injuries. I hate that. Nobody wants to be hurt.
No. And he's clearly somebody that can be, again, just from a natural skill standpoint, we beat this over the head, like, in July and August, that his skill set is crazy good. It has always been crazy good. It's something that gets us really, really excited. It's something that would translate in a game setting, even against a team like Alabama. It's, can he put himself in a position where we can call his number?
Let's hope. Golly, I hate that. I hate just that the news on this is frustrating. It's not the end of the world, but it's enough to concern you at a position where you are already wringing your hands. Before we go to break, let me bring this up. Loosey-goosey, we can be wild and all over the place. Tell me you weren't, because I was, and I know you are too. This is somewhat rhetorical, but I lost a bet yesterday, and that's okay. And that bet had to do with me and Trey Jones. Now, Trey did not bet any money, but we were on the air and doing the satellite show. And
it wasn't like the Clemson-Louisville wager?
That's right. That went unpaid by that individual who, if he's listening to this show, knows he owes me money. So the point would be this. That discussion involved one Steph Curry in the world of golf. And he made his debut playing in a web.com event, the Ellie Mae Classic. And one thing that I figured out over the year or plus doing this show now with Trey and just talking with people in the golf world is that, and I'm just talking to you, frankly, just talking to you, because you've played competitive golf. I know you'll downplay, but you did play competitive golf, and I never have. I've just played weekend hacker stuff with you, and you indulge me. But what I don't know is what it's like to have to hit a shot under pressure, whether that's perceived pressure or competition or whatever it is. Well, it's ratcheted up big time when you go on a tour of any kind, web.com, PGA, doesn't matter, European, whatever. Because not only are you now playing amongst the world's best players, all of whom have every shot in the bag just about and can do things with a golf ball that the average Joe couldn't believe, but the conditions are wildly different than what you get when you play at Killarn Country Club on a given weekend, even when it's at its hardest, right? I mean, these are the PGA and the web.com. They really make it difficult. Whether it's the speed of the greens, the rough that's grown out, the way they've shaped the golf course and trimmed back trees or not trimmed back trees, and the way they make you shape your golf ball in certain holes and hit into areas that are very small windows. So what happens is the guy, I say all that to say this, the guy that's the scratch golfer over here at Killarn or the scratch golfer that's over there at Golden Eagle or wherever he is, he's a very good golfer by the standards of golf played around the world by anybody who actively pursues the joy of the game. That dude shooting 72 is in a very small percentage of people, small window of people that can ever do that, right? But he would get destroyed playing tournament conditions on a web.com tour. He wouldn't be able to compete, right? That guy that shoots scratch is going to throw up a 78, an 80 out there.
If he's lucky.
If he's lucky, right? So I say all of that to say this. Steph Curry is a really good professional basketball player. That's what he does for a living, and he's good at it. He makes over $30 million a year doing it, and he's won championships. That dude went out on the web.com tour, first time ever playing in something like this with an invite, and made 3 birdies and shot +4 on a professional course and beat some of the pros. Now, first of all, that's embarrassing. If you're one of the pros that got beat by Steph Curry, who plays part-time when he's not playing basketball, that's got to...
And dominating the sport.
That's got to hurt your feelings a little bit, right?
Oh,
My man just rolled out here and dropped a 76 on me, and I'm sucking.
Kind of weakens my argument about a golfer being an athlete.
Right. Yeah, that's a toughie, right? So my man goes out, and actually it was a 74 because par was 70. Shot a 74 on a professional tour and beat some of the people in the field who, play golf professionally all day, every day. That I cannot overstate how impressive that is. That's insane. I did bet that there was no way he'd break 80. And I also said there was no way the over-under, Vegas had the over-under on 2.5 birdies. I said, way under. There was no way he was going to have more than 2 birdies. He did. And then there was another wager where we asked about worst score on a hole. Over under, I think, 7.5. And I said over. I figured some par 5, he'd throw one into the woods and end up eating an 8. Bastard didn't do that. He's good. Like, legitimately good.
Like when he retires from the NBA, he might have another career.
Okay, so this same event, Tony Romo played 80-82. That's got to hurt Tony Romo's feelings, right? That guy is, like, constantly trying to get in and qualify for the U.S. Open. Tony Romo lost by, like, 35 strokes to the next guy. That's crazy.
Hey, Tony, give me that football. Maybe I could throw it around a little bit better than you could.
I mean, listen, and by the way, I give Tony Romo credit, too. You go shoot an 80 on a professional course, that's still doing some things. You're still really good, which means if you're at your local muni, you're probably throwing up 68s. Yeah, I got you.
You shoot on a pro course, you could beat John Daly on a given day. John will throw up an 84 or an 85 out of nowhere.
If the shakes hit him. But I'm saying...
I'm better than Larry Mize is right now.
That's so wrong. Any dead golfers you want to talk about?
Larry,
how you better than?
Congratulations.
I mean, that's brutal.
Well, Larry still plays the Masters.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately.
Yes.
A 74. It kind of made me mad, man. It's like when you see a 10-year-old kid go out and shoot 72 or something, like legit from the tips or something. You're 10 years old.
I think the one thing I would say is there's no pressure on Steph whatsoever for a paycheck. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I think there's freedom in being able to approach that event in that way while these guys are fighting and clawing to support their families.
I agree with you. The only thing I would say about that, the caveat to that is, you know and I know that if you don't do something for a living and you get thrust into somebody else's realm, no matter whether it's for money or not, you're nervous as hell. Like if you got asked to go dance at a recital or something and you hadn't taken a lick of dancing and there was going to be an auditorium full of people, there's no money at stake, you'd be nervous as hell.
Buddy, that would be the all-time slow play. People wouldn't know what hit them.
But, by the way, golfers on tour, Ben Crane, Justin Thomas, all these guys, they all were, for what it's worth, I hate to reference Twitter, but they were all tweeting yesterday with the, well, good Lord, Steph can play. Like, this is ridiculous. He can really play.
It was worth it just to learn.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
For information on loans and rebates, so stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, because we're the
Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers.
Hey, watch
Houston Oilers all the way.
Jeff, I will fight you.
Houston Oilers. That's their song. Why
No. First of all, they never went to a Super Bowl. It's our song. We're the only undefeated team.
Oh,
we're the only one that takes the ball goal to goal like no one's ever seen.
You and the rest of Miami holding on to the past, my friend. But you know what? September the 10th, it's on. Tampa Bay at Miami.
Not a chance. You know what that first loss feels like every year. Because you've never gone undefeated.
Houston Oilers.
All right, let's go. Dry-aged ribeye steaks. What do you say?
I'm in. Let's bet.
It's on.
Is Bumpa's going to be open yet?
Shh, Jeff. They don't know about that one yet.
It's coming soon. All right, Bucks.
Let's go fish.
Good times. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Has the summer heat taken a toll on your vehicle's battery? Count on O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I just need to get a neti pot. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to make sure you keep those neti pots clean, though, man. You could end up giving yourself more problems.
Well, they freak me out, like the underwater feeling.
Have you used the neti pot?
No, but I might just have to surrender to at least trying it.
I have used the neti pot. Not all that frequently, but I have. Hey, where's Anthony Kim these days? I like to ask that at least once a year on the program. I'd like to know that he's still all right, that he's alive and doing some things. Surely we would have heard otherwise. But I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, whatever we said last time, I think it's the same. First of all, he's not dead. And second of all, he spoke to Golf Channel back in 2015 when he said, golf is only, quote, a fond memory of mine.
That dude just said, screw it, I'm out, it's over. At Jay Cameron Show, at _Tom Lang. Damn it, man. Wrap Matt Moore up in a bubble wrap and hide him in the closet. Hashtag a-hole. Yeah, but,
Hashtag a-hole.
Here's the thing about that, James. You're going overboard to protect Matt Moore. I got you. It beats, whoever third-string dude you got rolling out there, but you're really just hoping to keep Matt Moore upright. And that suggests to me that perhaps you have not faced the reality of this terribly dire situation. Your season is screwed, James. Whether Matt Moore is wrapped in a bubble and kept upright or not, your starting quarterback is likely gone for the year. And the best you can hope for, at least until you sign somebody else, so we'll just talk about this since you tweeted in about Matt Moore, is that Matt Moore somehow stays operational. Well, best case scenario, Matt Moore plays his best brand of football. He's still Matt Moore. So that's a toughie.
So their first 5 games.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, baby. You got to start out the box with a brutal game right off the bat. That's tough for the Dolphins.
Then they fly out to the West Coast, and they go play the L.A. Chargers. The L.A. Chargers, that's right. And they don't really have any receivers anymore, do they? Mike Williams isn't available. Do you see their second-round pick this year towards ACL?
The Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, the Chargers are having a rough go of it.
I'm off of the Chargers for life. They've pissed me off, man. It's not what you do. You stay in San Diego.
Then they return to the East Coast, but they're on the road up in New York. They face the Jets.
That's a win.
Then
Matt Moore will beat the Jets senseless.
Then they host the Saints.
They'll win that game.
I'm wondering if that's not overseas because that's a 9:30 a.m. Eastern start, so maybe that's in London. And then they host.
Well, that would mean they're playing the Jaguars, right?
Maybe the logo and name of the team is just wrong. Then they host the Titans. So they're their first 5 games. Bucks at home, Chargers road, Jets road, Saints at home or in London, and then Titans at home.
Well, who knows? we always have some thoughts on what teams are going to be this time of year, and we end up being wrong about at least one of them. But, yeah, I'm kind of curious. I think it's a tough road. Your best hope here is that Gase is able to get something out of Jay Cutler. That Cutler wants to play. He invests. He already knows the offense. They worked well together. He comes in and has one last good season. That happens, you can make the playoffs because you got to, like you pointed out, you got other pieces in play there, including a really strong running game. Now, of course, let's not forget the fact that unfortunately for the Dolphins, and they've been the topic du jour this week with the opening of camps and practice beginning because the news has been so dire, but they lose their starting quarterback, but this is on the heels of losing Ajayi to a concussion. That was the first nugget of news we got out of any camp, was that guy suffered a concussion after not missing a single snap last year, and now they got to hold him out a little bit, which, again, maybe he heals up just fine and he's ready to go, but things began rather ominously in Miami, and that's got to be just infinitely frustrating.
They have a brutal stretch in their schedule where they host the Raiders, travel to Carolina, then to New England, host the Broncos, which, if offense is your struggle, the Broncos aren't exactly who you want to face.
No.
And then they host the Patriots. That's a hell of a 5 weeks right there.
A few losses in there.
That could be.
It could be. At Jay Cameron Show, Matt Moore ain't beating my Saints, buddy. What are we doing here? Thanks, Blair. Maybe. They could. I don't think the Saints are going to be any good.
Well, the game's in London, so it's going to be on a sloppy track. So Drew Brees doesn't
Can
have
we
the
stop
advantage.
that? Can we stop doing this?
No, London.
Well, then fine. Just move the Jags over there like everybody anticipates and be done with it. Let's go.
MLB's doing that next year, aren't they? They're doing the early games in Asia, and then they're doing a couple of weekends in England at some point. I think they announced that this week.
Who, by the way, out of curiosity, how we like to contract teams in the NBA all the time? We're always saying, well, you just get rid of this team. They're never winning anything. Like the Milwaukee Bucks, just what are we doing? You're never going to do anything. Get the hell up out of here, Milwaukee. We're done with you. Sacramento, come on. It's time for you to take it on down the road. People forgot you were even in the league. Get the hell up out of here, Sacramento. And then, we do this a lot with the NBA because there's like 8 candidates where you go, come on now.
Charlotte Bobcats.
Come on.
Oh, they're the Hornets now, but still.
Whatever they are, get the hell out of here. The Pelicans, are they ever going to win anything?
They're in the Western Conference.
Are they ever going to win anything?
New Orleans is in the West. What a crime with Memphis.
Asinine, right? The whole thing. There's quite a few. Like, I know Karl Malone and Stockton had a nice run. Utah's never going to win anything.
I'm just thinking about Jimmy Kimmel and the Old Man Show days.
Yeah.
Karl Malone.
But I'm thinking, that was great. I remember those teams well.
Hey, kids, it's Karl Malone.
Greg Ostertag. All those guys.
Greg Ostertag.
I'm breaking him out for you, baby.
Holy cow.
Remember him? Yeah, that's fine. But, man, they're not winning anything. Those days are long gone. Greg Ostertag's not walking through that door anytime soon, Tom. It's time to take it out down the road.
That's when your one family member outed himself. He's like, I think that Greg Ostertag is actually a pretty good player. Like, oh, geez.
Here we go.
Eaton
Eaton is not coming through that door anytime soon. I'll go through all those guys, but I will just say this. We can do that in the NFL, too, I think. There's a couple of teams that I think, and I know in the NFL it's a salary cap league, so it could turn around. Who would be your team that you'd say, it's time to call this what it is, hopeless?
I think if you were in a different market, a major media market, you might look to Tampa or Jacksonville as one of those two teams. So to be fair, I think we might be on that list if we were doing a poll of national.
Well, they'd be wrong.
One of the LA teams at this point, right?
The Chargers.
Yeah.
Not going to make it. The Chargers aren't going to make it. I'm done with them. And they should have stayed in San Diego. That makes me angry. And oddly, I don't know who else.
You picked them over the Rams, though?
I think they're both going to fail. They're both in bad situations. The Rams are in a terrible situation because they drafted a quarterback who can't play.
Blow up that Rams franchise. Forget it.
They've been everywhere, right? Los Angeles, St. Louis, back to L.A.
They have no identity. Like, the Chargers had one for a long time, and they just traded it in. But they're the Chargers. They had, Dan Fouts, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees at one point.
Jefferson was one of the great receivers before your time. You go look at some of his highlights, man. That guy he could catch anything. It was crazy.
What have the Rams done,
Well, they had the year in '79 when they beat the Bucks to get to the Super Bowl and lose to the Steelers, and Vince Ferragamo was leading the way.
Greatest show on turf.
They also had Eric Dickerson.
Yep, they're the greatest show on turf. They don't even play in St. Louis anymore.
Yeah, so we can't even count that, right? You got to go if you want to go back to old Rams days. Like you have to do what I was doing with Eric Dickerson and Ferragamo and all those guys. Yeah, they had some receivers too. Yeah, I keep thinking about. Man, that's tough. You're right. I would maybe get rid of them, but we're probably, you're right, biased to get rid of some West Coast teams that we don't care about. The league is pretty healthy, though. For the most part, you can see a viability in almost every team in the league. Maybe Jacksonville gets there. I understand the Bucs are no great shakes in terms of attendance either. So if you're a Jags fan and you hear me say that, you shoot me the middle finger. I got you.
Always hypersensitive.
Yeah,
to that
they are very sensitive to that because they're always the one that's rumored to be shut down or moved to Toronto or London or somewhere else. But
Go win a Super Bowl, okay?
Yeah, you wake me when that happens, pal. So there's that, but I don't know. I think I've always thought that if either Tampa or Jacksonville were to move but stay in the state, Orlando is destined, we would think, at some point to get a team, right?
God. Landlocked. You got the I-4 heat, I-drive.
I wouldn't be visiting anytime soon.
I'd be on the market for a new team.
Well,
if the
first
Bucs
of all, actually, and I know we got to go to break, but this is true. I do this all the time with my friends because there are Chargers fans that I know that are sticking with the Chargers after having left San Diego and going to L.A. That's not what you do. No. If the Bucs moved, would you still root for them? No.
I would if they still had the Jameis Winston connection. Sure.
That'd be it. They'd be on thin ice. For as long as Jameis is there, I'm rooting for him. And then after that, we're done here. I'm picking a new team. I'm serious. That's what would happen.
How about the Texans? The hell, that was great, cool story, but it's lived and died, hasn't it?
But Houston has to have a team.
Does it really?
They should have never gotten rid of the Oilers.
Well, then move Tennessee back and get rid of the Texans.
Get rid of the Titans.
Yeah, just move the Titans over back to so you have the Oilers.
I miss the Oilers uniforms.
Yeah, they were classic.
I loved them. When they wore the baby blues.
Man, the AFL had it going on. I don't know if they were AFL, if they went back that far, but it's just the AFL throwbacks that the Bills have, the Chargers have, the Patriots have, the Jets have.
I miss the St. Louis Cardinals, the football team. Not the Arizona Cardinals.
You remember the St. Louis Cardinals?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. I love how you're
you remember that you had to designate which one you were talking about.
Yeah, I can remember all those. Yeah, it's hilarious. I'm trying to think of it. I guess there is no team in the NFL that other than maybe the Rams or the Chargers. I think we're in agreement on this. You're not going to get rid of anybody else.
I'd have some movement with the Texans somehow.
You really hate the Texans?
Yeah, well, I mean, they were always supposed to arrive, and then they never did.
But they haven't won anything, but they're still viable. That stadium's great. People show up. They've been a playoff team. They've had some good players. Andre Johnson was really, really good.
Yeah, maybe you can move Indy back to Baltimore and get rid of the Ravens, too, while you're at it.
I'll give you that. The Baltimore Colts need to be a thing, and Indianapolis doesn't need a team. Sorry, Indianapolis. I'm sure you're a vibrant, wonderful city. In fact, I've been there twice, and it's great. Both times I went there. Yeah, I'll do that.
Then you can move. Okay, so then you can move a team or two back into the South for the NFC, and then we can go back up to the Central. I miss those days. I miss playing the Lions twice a year and the Packers and the Vikings. That was awesome. Those were good days. The Bears, too, since I'm naming them all.
We went through the entire league just now. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Barbecue Cook-Off, August 19th from 2 to 10 p.m.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
This is a court-ordered notice. Current and former BMW, Mazda, Subaru, and Toyota owners or lessees can receive payments and other benefits from a legal settlement related to allegedly defective Takata airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to autoairbagsettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's autoairbagsettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens. $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m., 7 days a week, $7.95. Daily specials. Locally owned and operated since 1978. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill. 3 locations to choose from. 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Progressive presents Mindflowness with Flow.
Your aura brims with confidence. The Name Your Price tool has given you policy options based on your budget. A source of great power rises from within, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex that can shoot dragons out of its eyes, riding on a tank.
Get insurance based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The key to success? Keep it simple, especially when it comes to hiring. And nobody makes it easier than Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Manage your candidates from one dashboard. According to an independent study, 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. New users claim your $50 credit to post a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Oh! Brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
It's that time of year. Not saying I don't engage, but it does suck that now every website you go to read about sports has something reminding you repeatedly that you must sign up for their fantasy football. For it is better than all the other websites, fantasy football, that you've read about, participated in the past. Just click on the banner here. Sign up now. And it's also one that is typically a drop-down ad, which I will headbutt Tom Lang's nose.
It's happened.
It is so damn annoying. Please, I got you. Advertise. Do what you got to do. Make some money. All right, I'm with you. Just don't force the drop-down video thing on me. I'm trying to read that story that your man wrote about Drew Bledsoe or whatever it is.
And it always seems to take the perfect amount of time. You want to let the website do what it's got to do, run the ads, whatever, so that I can, freely go click. I know where I need to click. Do I need to use the scroll part of the mouse? No. And then as you're clicking, it goes, whoop, there it is. Ha-ha, gotcha.
Always.
Free fantasy football brought to you by?
I've actually, and I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to seriously consider it, and I'm sure somebody who already has made the decision or maybe never even signed up, which is fine. I get that too, because I contemplated that for years, not doing it. For years, I was really late to the show. It wasn't my generation that started fantasy football. It came after I was out of school, came after the peak years of me sitting around, going to sports bars, watching 25 televisions while all the games were on. And it hadn't quite evolved yet to the place where the Red Zone channel existed or whatever. So I was in that unique window. For your generation, this was a thing, and everybody did it all the time. And you're one of the few, and I've given you credit for this, that kind of grew up in that generation and yet still want to watch the games for the game's sake and catch patterns and not just watch highlights. Because that's the problem with fantasy sports, is it becomes a highlight-watching endeavor to see if your guy caught 7 passes for 100 yards or not the game. And I love the game. And I was always worried when I signed up for fantasy that the way you're supposed to watch a game would be ignored by and large, and of course, I would think discarded in order to kind of hyper-manage your fantasy teams.
Yeah, I probably was doing fantasy sports when I was about 12 years old to start, and that was smallworld.com, which is kind of like what Daily Fantasy does, but it's week to week. So you draft a team, and then their values go up week in and week out. Right. And I can remember, a couple of picks that were a couple $100,000 because I saw them in the preseason, Jeff, because I was a kid. I didn't know better. I was watching preseason football, and then they got more and more expensive. Lamar Smith, I think it was, for the Dolphins, was the running back. Anyway, when I was about 14, 15 years old, I started at CBS Sports, and it was my sister's company league, and it's the one I still play in today. My first ever pick was LaDainian Tomlinson. He was a rookie.
Worked out all right for him.
It worked out all right for me, too, that year in that league. But, yeah, I mean, if the slate of 4 o'clock games is awful, then Red Zone it is, man, because there's only 3 or 4 of them. They go to commercial all the time. And I don't really care. I don't have any skin in the game, and none of these games are truly compelling. So let's whip around because it'll stay there for a good 4 or 5 minutes at a time. But I don't like to use Red Zone as my default. And I know there are so many people I know that are your age even or older that like Red Zone as their default for Sundays because they don't care. They don't have a team. They don't care. They just care about their fantasy team. It's not about – they don't root for an NFL team. They just root for their fantasy squad.
Yeah, I can't do that, and I don't want to do that. I still like – and it's also not healthy for me to do that for this show purpose. I mean, you need to see the games. You need to know what a team is or is not, and that's not based on fantasy value. There are plenty of teams that, from a fantasy standpoint, don't have the bells and whistles, the big receiver, the star running back, the quarterback that's going to net you 20 points or whatever it might be, right? But they're just a good team, and they play to their strengths. And from a fantasy value, their star players and their defensive units would be middling at best, and they would be no use to you if all you cared about was fantasy. But from a I'm trying to win the Super Bowl standpoint, they may be very good, and you need to be able to identify those teams. And plus, I like to lock in. Now, I'm not saying I don't do it the beauty of a sports bar is that, obviously atmosphere is great, and there are allegiances all throughout the bar that make you smile, and people are lock. I love the atmosphere. I love the energy. But I like then watching a game while knowing that I have access to all that other stuff to check fantasy. But that's not my modus operandi. I'm going to sit down and say, all right, these 4 o'clock games suck today. But of these 4 o'clock games, which ones are the most compelling or matter most to the Bucs in some cases, or whatever it might be, right? Whoever you're rooting for. And then I'll look around everything else. I'm going to walk in and watch a game until somebody's getting beat 28-0 or something.
Well, for example, when bye weeks start, and so the schedule's light, especially that late window. Let's say your 4 o'clock window features something like San Francisco, Seattle, the Chargers and Denver, and then like Carolina and Houston. That is a perfect red zone trio for me. I'll get the best of those 3 games. Mm-hmm. None of them are particularly good at all, but I'll get the best moments from all those games, and it's better than watching the highlights tomorrow. But you're right. Like if you're at the CP on a Sunday for the 1 o'clock window, you can watch the Bucs game in its entirety on the Vegas wall. It's on one of the TVs. But then you go to commercial, and you're like, all right, I know that things are heating up over here. You can choose yourself. You're not letting the NFL Network's Red Zone channel tell you what's going on. You could choose of the 7 games. If you have a second team that you kind of like, that you're kind of rooting for, then you watch that game. Or let's say the Bucs game's out of hand, one way or the other. We're winning by 10, we're down by 10. But then you got 3 great finishes. You can watch them all at once. Yeah. That's the value of going out and watching the game. There's no doubt about that.
Big games, you're just like me, and I'm reminded of policy the way that we all do. When any team, college team, pro team, whomever it is playing a big game, you don't want to be around anybody. That's when sports bars are not your friend in that case, because you've got to lock in. You got to go step for step. You got to call play for play what you think ought to happen. You're taking notice of all those things. Non-big games, all right, I'll watch everybody's team. Let's go have fun.
I agree, unless you're at a Jeff Cameron Show watch party.
That's different. Then we're all united.
Exactly. Then everybody's there for the same team and everybody's locked in.
That's right, the Jeff Cameron team.
But if it's, let's say it's week 15 and you win this week and you're in the playoffs, but if you lose, then all of a sudden the scenarios don't look good at all. Yeah, let's say the Bucs are playing whoever, the Saints. Okay, I might lock it down. I might stay in the house. The fridge might not open for that window.
I don't know if you saw this tweet here towards the end of the hour or not, but I bring it to your attention now because we're in good moods, and I know this is going to sour you, but I don't know if you saw yesterday, Jamie Johnson tweeted at me that, damn those practice garnets. At Jay Cameron Show, can we please right or wrong? Tom Lang feels your pain. I understand. I'm with you, Jamie. I, too, think that it's somewhat absurd. I don't live and die with it the way Tom does. This is his hill to die on. He's very, very, very pumped about this. Has been for a long time, like he was the Champions Club. Well, the Tom Lang Memorial, although he's not dead.
Many, many years. Millions of years, really.
But honestly, I do. It is funny that he brings this up. When you see the pictures of them in shells and they've got those practice garnets on, what's so damn hard here? What's so damn hard? That's the color. That's what we need to be wearing.
Here's what I do, and I try to work on a compromise here. Because I was thinking about this the other day when I saw the practice
I'm sure you
photos.
were.
Yeah, this is what I do. I think the logo, absolute home run. The logo is what we needed. That's fine. Great. Now, you get to the garnet, you get to the uniforms. I love the tribal symbolism, or symbols. Not symbolism. It's literally symbols.
They are symbols.
On the sleeves. You don't need the neck for the home
one. It would
have
been funny if I had said, Tom, what do those symbols represent? What do those symbols symbolize?
It's like fire, war.
No, but I know. But just never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, I would put them on the sleeves, but then I'd stay away from the neck. The neck looks nice and clean on the practice uniforms. I know that we've had something there.
So I like those things, by the way, the symbols.
I do, too. I like them on the sleeves for the garnet ones.
Right.
I think the white ones, the road
those
jerseys are fine. Don't touch them.
Don't touch them. Those are sweet.
Unless you can, make the garnet consistent between the numbers and the sleeves and that.
We're all right with the white ones.
But I'm all right with the layout. But for the garnet ones, if you just had that, the sleeves the way they are now, with the neckline of the practice uniforms, and then it's debate time about whether you want a gold outline of the numbers.
I don't want a gold outline of the numbers.
Not gold numbers, but a gold outline.
No.
No?
I like them the way they are.
Okay, but you got to do something different.
Because it's going to look like Alabama's or South Carolina or Oklahoma. But I like all three.
Now, the sleeves could be that one thing, plus the Osceola head right there at the base of the neck.
Are you upset at the differing colors of garnet on Jimbo's Pimpmobile, in which lemon blares each time he comes to sway a recruit?
No, and somebody brought this up a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, that process one.
Hack did, I think. He brought it up, yeah.
Yeah, process one. No, I've just lost faith in the department to get that consistent.
So, you know what I think is interesting? I think you're at that place where you don't shave your neck. That's my code for a guy's giving up on life. So when you see a guy, he's bereft of hope, the back of his neck is a mess. You're like, come on, man. What are we doing here? You're just giving up? Just going to go out there like Sasquatch? Is that what we're doing? So that's you with the garnet. You're just, you know what? You might as well just grow it out, whatever.
Well,
my hair's sticking out of the back of my shirt. What do I care?
If the sleeves and the neck on the road jerseys, on the road uniforms, are going to look different than the numbers themselves, how can I expect Process 1 to receive the treatment it deserves?
Process 1 can't. And in a weird way, I like that Process 1 is kind of flawed in that way. It just seems like it should be kind of dirty, like something's wrong, like it's just not on the up and up.
Given when it's used?
I'm like, that's right. That's right. You know something's wrong with that. But it's effective. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with. Crank it.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Or call 1-888-735-5596. That's AutoAirbagSettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina. And presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
If you haven't stopped into Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out.
Hey, it's me, Courtney. Hey, it's me, Marissa.
Last but not least, I'm Kim, and we're the girls from the Fourth Quarter.
Okay, girls, there are lots of great nights to stop in at the Fourth Quarter, including Monday, where it's happy hour all day, including 2-for-1 Wells. There's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the Fourth Quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink. drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink.
I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the fourth quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout.
It's back. The 14th annual Kingfish Shootout held in Carabel, Florida. August 5th and 6th is almost here. Entry fees are $300 per boat, and donations of $1,000 or more will receive one free boat entry. Fishing hours are Saturday 7 to 7 and Sunday 7 to 4. All boats must check in at the check-in station by 7 p.m. on Saturday and 4 p.m. on Sunday. Boats can be in the water but can't pass the checkout point until 6 a.m. both days. There will be a captain's meeting at Sea Quarters Marina Friday, August 4th at 6 p.m. Mandatory one person per boat must be present for rules. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Highway 98, Carabel, 850-697-8400.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
Oh, no. My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer tells ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski that Doc Rivers will no longer have official front office responsibilities. He had been the president of basketball operations in addition to being the head coach. Lawrence Frank will now oversee basketball operations for the Clippers. The Spurs make it official today, signing guard Patty Mills. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports it's a 4-year, $50 million contract. ESPN's Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington report no decision has been made yet, but the Dolphins fear quarterback Ryan Tannehill will need season-ending surgery on his left knee. Head coach Adam Gase says for right now, Matt Moore is the starter if Tannehill is out. Defensive lineman Devin Still signs with the Jets. Still played briefly for the Texans last year before needing season-ending foot surgery.
Brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, get to JCPenney's biggest sale of the season. Find great brands like Levi's 502 regular fit jeans for $39.99. Or get 25% off select styles of Nike tees, shorts, shoes, and backpacks. That's getting your penny's worth. JCPenney.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday.
Domino.
Brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week. Thanks for tuning to it. Happy Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program, my friends. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live, either streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but hey, we got you. If you do, don't worry about it. All 3 hours are going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of this evening's program. It's all brought to you with limited commercial interruption thanks to our great podcast sponsor, CarltonDean.com. And the fine folks at SVN, Southland Commercial, finding ways to make you money in commercial real estate, income-producing properties, and off-market deals. Email the show if you like. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow, WTSM app for your mobile devices, and on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Thanks for watching if that's what you're doing. Bad news to start the day. That's what we got from Florida State's camp. Devante Phillips, if you're just hopping in the car, backup wide receiver for Florida State, who figured to play maybe a slightly more prominent role this year. He's played in 19 games, 5 catches, 30 yards. We've always heard of his promise, but alas, it's not to be, at least if these charges are true. He's charged with felony accounts of fraud and 5 felony charges at that, cashing or depositing items with intent to defraud, grand theft. Not a good story. Not a good situation for him, and one that sees him suspended indefinitely from the football team, as is the case with all who get charged with a felony. That's a university policy. There's no way around it, and it's a good policy at that. Get suspended, get held out until we get this thing resolved. I think given what we're reading about this story and what we're hearing about this story and his background in the past of kind of being in the doghouse, as I've described it before with Jimbo, at least in my estimation, I'm going to guess we don't see Devante Phillips play for Florida State ever again.
I think, and as you apply it to on the field and moving forward, Devante Phillips was considered to be one of the hopes. You're looking for a guy who can operate over the middle, operate with toughness in this receiving core. And it's not to say that, an Auden Tate or Keith Gavin doesn't have the body type to handle the punishment. Of course, Nooney Murray is a little bit smaller, but Hart doesn't care how tall you are about going over the middle and putting your body on the line. But I think that's one of the things that we're looking for this season is who is going to have the mental fortitude to make the tough catch for us? Who is going to be that receiver for us in the offense? And Phillips' skill set and his attributes, his natural gifts, did lend, perhaps he was going to be that person. And now we're looking for roles, and we're looking for role players. There are some stars who can fill those roles, but what are they actually going to look like on Saturdays? And you have one less answer now.
Yeah, you do, and so that really hurts you from a depth standpoint. I don't know who's going to step up. You're looking for 3 people in particular to be dependable, reliable, and explosive and big time this year, and they're in the form of Naquan Murray, Auden Tate, and Keith Gavin, and maybe you get that. And if you do and everybody stays healthy, you should be just fine. But surely they were hoping to have the kind of quality or relatively high-end backup or depth that Devante Phillips would have provided them because he is a junior. So instead, he's gone, and now you got to look at a kid like George Campbell, perhaps, who, hey, listen, infinitely talented, or so we're told, came in with high hopes of being a superstar here as a 4- and 5-star recruit. But he's been hurt the entirety of his time here in Tallahassee. But he was cleared this week to practice and begin everything on time. Looks to be healthy for the first time in a long time. And then you're going to start turning to some younger guys or people from other segments like at tight end where you could, as we said before, obviously, Izzo's already firmly entrenched. Maybe he gets more targets. But Maven Saunders is a guy whose athleticism for his body type, for his size, is really rare. And maybe you can line him up in the slot a little bit more frequently, as he is a guy that I think is a bit of a mismatch.
Well, I think it's a larger question, too, with the receiver situation the way it was even before today's news came down. Is Jimbo going to craft an offense, given what we have from a proven commodity standpoint?
Run the ball more?
Well, we're body types. You only have 2 receivers or 3 receivers at max on the field most times. I mean, we've had different-looking offenses. We've had different-looking base formations over the years. And it's been, not a great secret. It hasn't been well kept, at least, that Jimbo wants to run more 2 tight end sets because what it does is it forces a defense to dictate how they're going to play you pre-snap. He said that after countless practices and in countless press conferences that were away from practice, be it fall camp, spring camp. He likes the idea of putting bigger personnel on the field because now I know as a defense, based upon who you're putting on the field, what I can run and when I can run it. Mm-hmm. We just haven't been able to do it. And I wonder if necessity might be the mother of invention or implementation in this case, in that if you don't have a 4th or a 5th option at receiver that you really trust, and that's to say nothing about any injuries that might be suffered between now and the beginning of the Alabama game, might the offense that we see this year look a little bit more pro style than even Jimbo runs year to year, which is already pro?
I thought before this season began, but it didn't necessarily pertain, I guess, to the Alabama game, that the offense would be more tailored to what you just described and what he's wanted to do for a long time with 2 tights. And I still think that, but it doesn't seem like that fits all that much to me anyhow for Alabama.
Again, with the concept being, yes, and what has worked against Alabama. But, I mean, Leggett was a big target and big factor. So you could split out Izzo wide if you needed to, if you wanted to go in a 4-wide set. I mean, Izzo is multifaceted.
What about Trey McKinney, who yesterday we were talking about him some.
But let's say you go 4 wide and 1 back, and it just happens that Izzo is one of the 4 wide receivers. I mean, I don't think it's you're at a critical mass here. But it's the same concept as the linebacker question, and we've talked about it for a few years now, where we don't like our linebacker depth, but Jimbo would counter with, well, I'm only putting 2 on the field at max at the same time. So you don't need to have 7 or 8 people at the position. You really need to have 4 or 5 consistent players and options. If receiver this year is a position where we're only using 2 or 3 at a time at most often, then, okay, we might be able to absorb this thing, but it's hard to know what the offense is going to look like and what Alabama or other teams are going to beg for us to do from a matchup standpoint.
We brought it up earlier, but as far as what this does beyond just who's playing where and what other people can you posit that they'll turn to and say, hey, maybe this guy gets a more prominent role is, you always wonder about distractions when you start camp, and you always wonder about being in the news for the wrong reasons. But I said before, and I'll reiterate again here, and probably because people are asking about it, look, this guy wasn't somebody we were depending on to be great or anything like that. And moreover, it's a backup player in a small role on a Friday afternoon. If you're worried about the negative PR hit, well, anytime a player gets arrested, that's not good, and we all cringe. But it happens all over the country constantly, and especially something like this that doesn't involve a felony for any form of violence. Well, this goes away by Monday. I mean, this is a story, and you're going to read it, and people in passing all over the country who care about college football are reading these kinds of stories. But think about what you do when you hear about a backup wide receiver or running back at Oregon gets in trouble for writing a fraudulent check. You go, oh, that's interesting, and you just move on. You don't think anything of it. So I think we're all – it's the Bruce Springsteen line, we end up like a dog that's been beat too much. You kind of you cringe when you see some sort of headline like that because of what happened before. But no, this is going to move on.
No, and even if it was Clemson or Florida, and you're the type of fan who still likes to laugh at the rivals and not duck
throw
and wait
rocks
for
in glass houses. Yeah.
By the next week, you're fine. And for us, you have media day on Sunday, so there's going to be plenty of storylines, not just for us locally, but for the national media, because you do get 1 or 2 of the big dogs from SI, ESPN, CBS, wherever. They tend to make their way down. I think they'll be here, especially for Florida State, Alabama being the first game of the season. So most of the outlets are not going to be talking about Phillips and what his status is. The university's put out its statement. They can't comment on matters, especially when felony charges are levied.
No, you can't. There's nothing to say here.
The legal process is through and through. So we got a fan day, a media day on Sunday, and open practice. There'll be plenty to talk about on Monday, and by Wednesday, you'll have forgotten about it.
Open practice is a big damn deal. It happens this weekend, just as the NFL returned last night, and signifies that things are all about to be right with the world, and at least in terms of your football love and consumption. But you get that too. This is one of my favorite events of the year, is that open practice, because it's one of the rare times we're at field level for the entirety of a practice, and you can watch what some of the young guys look like in uniform, how they fit in, how their body types compare, and whether or not you can project that some of them may even have a chance to contribute significantly this year. It was just a year ago that we were sitting here amazed that Clemson could bring in a freshman defensive tackle and see what kind of special player he was right from the beginning and be envious of that. Well, maybe Marvin Wilson's that, right? There's a guy I'm going to be looking at this weekend. Maybe he's that guy that comes in at 330 pounds and is a man-child. Maybe he is going to contribute 10 to 15 reps a game that you would not have considered. And maybe one of the other guys that has come in as well, whether it's a receiver or running back or anybody else, this is that time where we get that glimpse and we have those conversations come Monday.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll have to split it up, and that's my favorite part. It's like, all right, I'll take this if you take that. And there's some things that we really want to go see the both of us, but then I'll do the offensive line if I need to. You can go, see the defensive tackles. I mean, you do prognosticate all.
I do, and when I'm responsible for personally bringing in elite-level, high-end defensive tackles year in and year out, projected well before anybody else in the business has the goal to do so, I think I have, earned the right to go interview the DTs.
I've had a good track record of spotting receivers that are going to be something. Some immediately, some not.
This is your year for Nooney.
Well, I saw Nooney a couple years ago.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying. He hasn't done a damn thing. I need Nooney to be that guy now.
Yes, I don't need him to be a Mooney. I need him to be a
Nooney. Yeah, and I need him to show up consistently.
But clearly,
not be moody.
I guess the juices were flowing from Nooney.
So terrible.
But I kept it together. Aren't you proud of that?
I did. Yeah.
I smile about it.
You did. Yeah.
I guess the juices were flowing for him the day of the open practice
because
he wanted to show out. Well, no, a couple of years ago. And I'm like, who the hell is that 80? That guy's good. And then when we had Rashad a while back.
How about we do this? How about we tell Nooney, since consistency hasn't been his cup of tea, hey, my man, I know you don't get pumped up for the Charleston Southerns of the world or teams like that. I've identified 7 games where I'm going to need you to try hard. 7 games where you have to do all in your power to succeed, play in and play out. Even on plays in which you're not the primary, you got a ball. And then the rest of the games, if you want to walk, you can, just whatever. You want to stare off into the stands, all right. But these 7, I'm going to need you.
Yeah, Nooney, here's the deal. September is going to suck.
Because you have to try hard.
You got
3 times.
3 out of 4. But then, once we're done with
There's
that.
Loafing City after that, buddy.
You got, Snuggy Hill, bye week.
Loaf.
Wallace Wade.
Loaf.
That's 3 weeks of kicking back and relaxing, my
Doing
man.
nothing. That's Loaf City, baby.
Then we play Louisville. And then we'll need you.
I'm going to need you. Need you to step up there big time.
Then it's a short week for
Could
BC.
Could be a high-scoring game.
Short week for BC after that.
That's a pseudo-loaf. They play a little defense at BC.
We'll find out by the second half.
Okay.
We can guarantee
Try
the
in the first quarter, Nooney, and then we'll let you know if you can loaf some more.
There you go. And I believe it's Syracuse the next week.
It is.
That's a loaf.
That's a November 4th loafing.
There you go. But Clemson is the following week.
Ain't no loafing going on up there, buddy. No, sir. Memorial Stadium will not have it.
Is it a scrub the next week? Is that right?
Delaware State is Loaf City. You may not even play. I don't even know if you'll be there.
Take a vacation.
Go to the islands. Hang out. I don't even know what to say to you there. I don't need to see your face. Following week is against Florida on the road. Going to need you to show out. So 1.
Maybe for the first half.
2, no, whole game. Because we try to light it up. I want to run it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games. Not even 7.
Right.
And then the ACC championship.
Sure.
And then obviously the playoffs.
Well, maybe the first half of Boston College. So at most in the regular season, we're asking for 6.5 games.
In fairness to Nooney, maturity happens over the years. It's not something everybody brings to the table in year 1 or even year 2. I was an immature idiot. So when you're 19, 20, 21 years old.
I was perfect.
You do things that raise the eyebrow of those that are twice that age. So maybe he's already prepared. Maybe he's already pumped. That is something I want to talk about in a moment. Jimbo Fisher is downright giddy in the early stages of practice. And I know, hey, just bear with us. Indulge this a little bit. But we do like to read him. We do like to look closely. He has revealed things that later on proved to be true when we diagnosed them, right? Last year being one of those times. When practice started, he was angry. When practice every day, he gave a report, and every day we would come in and go, either he's just trying to light a fire or he's legitimately pissed about the lack of toughness, both physically and mentally, that this team is showing him on a daily basis. So he revealed it a year ago, and it turned out to be Nostradamus-esque.
Yeah.
Very frustratingly so. Yes. We can't have that. But right now, he's taken on a different tact, and I think it's interesting, and you read into a facial expression or two. So, yeah, there we go. I'll even talk about the way his left hand sat upon the dais. Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Locash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
What's our quantity? Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Has the summer heat taken a toll on your vehicle's battery? Count on O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Our lifetime warranty is a game changer for buying cars in Tallahassee and Thomasville. You already know it extends the factory powertrain for unlimited time and unlimited miles. But here are the facts. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty is backed by Great American Insurance Company, an A-rated company that was founded in 1872 with billions in assets. The same company that underwrites GM's GMPP and Ford's Gap Insurance. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty comes with every new Nissan we sell and most pre-owned vehicles that are 5 years old or newer with 50,000 miles or less. While Kraft Nissan service department will certainly exceed your expectations and keep your records, you're not required to service with us. To maintain the warranty, you perform the manufacturer's recommended maintenance and keep your records. You can do that at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. It's that easy. What's the catch? There are no catches, hidden fees, or gimmicks. Kraft Nissan provides the product as an added value to our customers for doing business with us. So when you're ready to buy from Kraft Nissan, the home of our original and the only real lifetime warranty at no charge. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
So your AC is on the fritz? Call Barano Heating and Air Conditioning for help, day or night. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, 580-4029 or BaranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
Ring in the start of football season and the new school year by teeing it up at the Roberts Elementary Golf Tournament on Thursday, August the 31st at Killearn Country Club. This annual event directly benefits the students and staff of Roberts Elementary School. 9 a.m. shotgun start will beat the heat and have you primed for Thursday night college football kickoff. A team of 4 is just $340, and individuals are also welcome. Sponsorship packages are also available. The Roberts Elementary Golf Tournament, Thursday, August the 31st. To register, sponsor, or for more information, go to robertsgolftourney.com. That's robertsgolftourney.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Libations Friday, Lucy Goosey edition of the JCS. Jimbo's in a really good mood, man. That's a good sign just because he wasn't a year ago. We mentioned this a moment ago before going to break, but if you watched his post-practice press conference, hey, how about them apples? Post-practice press conference. A lot of peas.
Oh, man, I got the
A lot
cans
of
in the
peas,
ears.
baby. A peas. All right, so here's the thing. He was energized. Didn't feel like a labor to him to have to stand up there and have a conversation with the press after just the third day of practice. Seemed like an opportunity to address something that was not in play a year ago, or at least it was revealed that it wasn't. And he's also, I think, taking the more cautious approach to projections. You know, I think we have a tendency when we're excited about anything, whether it's a movie that's coming out or a vacation we're going on or an album that we're excited about, to kind of hear or get a glimpse of something and then project that everything else about that movie, that album, that vacation, whatever it might be, is going to be great. And, man, wait till you see this, you know. He does that with teams. He always kind of has, and I think he's learned a lesson a little bit here. And he goes both ways with it. He can be over the top negative. He can be over the top positive. But, you know, he is genuinely pleased with what's happened so far from an energy standpoint, a leadership standpoint, work ethic. All that is in play. And when he gets asked about it, he kind of lights up. And that's the kind of body language that we do look into, because a year ago he really looked kind of forlorn, very frustrated, kind of angst-ridden every day that he had to give those press conferences, because he wasn't trying to be overly harsh or specific, but you got an overriding sense he was displeased, that he felt like, man, the effort's not there, the toughness isn't there, the focus, the execution, these things aren't where they need to be right now. And we got games coming up. And then, boom, the season happened, and we know what happened with the oddity of the start last year. At least as he's talking now, at least as he's focusing now and answering these questions and talking about what these first few days have looked like, you can tell he's energized, buoyed by what he's seen. And that's, to me, that's certainly a positive sign. And look, I get it. All we're doing right now is kind of looking into what little things, little clues we have, what things we can do. But it's hard. So he's also careful to dial it back when he gets carried away with an answer, or he talks and projects beyond just that day. The next answer, usually he says, we'll see. We'll see. Right now I'm happy, but we'll see. It's only day 3. We got 26 more of these. Let's see what happens. And so he's measured. And I like that version. That's a more mature version. It's one that sees a coach who's learned from his mistakes and his successes. I think it's a smart way to go about it.
Yeah, he'll have an angry day here sooner than later.
Well, it'll be after it's usually leading up to the second scrimmage.
Yeah.
After the first scrimmage, he's always positive. They could be but sorry, won't matter. He'll tell you that for first scrimmage, everybody did pretty all right, even if that's not true. We'll never know, because we don't know. By the time we start moving towards those critical second and third scrimmages, the last couple, now he's going to light a fire. There's going to be a day where the level of energy drops because people are tired, and he's not going to have it. He's going to say that's what gets you beat, and he's going to flip out, and he'll name names, or he'll rip a couple people. We'll see. That's the way it's always been.
Yeah, do you want to even be here?
Yeah.
These guys got to find out if they want to be here.
Right, there's usually that speech.
Yeah, but he was saying that coming out the gates these last couple of seasons, and especially last year. And I think from his perspective, from Coach Fisher's perspective, the really frustrating part about all of that was he felt like the players didn't want to help themselves. The coaching staff is trying to make you better, but you guys don't want to be a part of the solution. So screw you, and screw your generation, and screw the society that produced you. Seriously, I mean, that's kind of the place he's coming from. Whereas here, at least through 3 days, they put on shells for the first time yesterday. He says, okay, this group, they like to be coached. I mean, even Ira asked him a question halfway through his availability yesterday, and it was about, I don't remember what it was about. It was about year to year and how much can you take from last year's lessons. He goes, well, that team's gone.
He's quick to dismiss that group whom I'm pretty sure he wasn't in love with.
Okay, yeah, that's probably the 12th or 13th time. I'm not exaggerating. No, he said that team's over.
Long gone. He's real close to going, I hate that team. Don't ever bring it up again. It's all Dawson's fault.
Remember those teams in the past? I said, if this was a person, I'd be their friend.
I hate that bitch. I mean, team.
That's last year's team would not have. They would have been a mortal enemy of mine.
They would have been late to everything.
They would have been the guy that I had to do chores for just to keep the peace in the house.
You got to get out of bed at a reasonable hour.
4:15 a.m. is reasonable.
If you're a grown man who cares. DOS! I could picture it, right? It would be great. Do we have DOS? All of the clips that we think we've now lost, I'm worried that we don't have certain DOS clips.
Well, we can still find that one on YouTube.
It's still one of my favorites.
I mean, it's in the background. That one was not a clean cut because it was that was spring ball way back when, and they were on the IM fields where people park for tailgates.
But we do have Jameis Y. Jameis, no.
Jameis, why? Jameis, no.
I always suspected in watching that Jameis did it specifically to piss him off. Watch me throw into triple coverage is ridiculous.
Ermon, don't go up for the ball here.
Yeah,
I'm just
going
trying to piss Jimbo off.
Watch his reaction.
Jameis, why? Jameis, no.
Inexplicably, I'm going to ignore the open men underneath and throw this ball into triple coverage because I want Coach to flip out. But Coach loved him so much he couldn't even flip out. That's the most he could muster. Just, oh, come on, you.
Man, you remember those exchanges in the sidelines, though?
They got heated.
They did. You know, we glorify that relationship, and by and large, it was really, they saw the world, at least the football world, the same way. And it was after the play that Jameis made where he spins out of being sacked, and then he fires to O'Leary. He's walking off the field, and Jimbo wants to correct him on something.
He's not having it.
And Jameis hits Jimbo's arm and brushes it aside and walks away.
Well, that's a heat-of-the-moment thing, right? And I do believe the kind of special relationship – you see this in the NFL. You don't see, for example, a linebacker dismiss his head coach in that manner. You know, there's no just brushing off or whatever. But also, head coaches typically – they're not saying anything to a linebacker. They're talking to quarterbacks. So quarterbacks, coaches, whether they're defensive-minded coaches, offensive-minded coaches, doesn't matter – quarterbacks, head coaches, an extension, they have to have a relationship, and they are ultra competitive, or they wouldn't be where they are. That is always going to happen. I think it's actually elevated if you do like each other. If you feel the freedom to say anything because you are on the same page and you both want the same thing, and that's not in question. If you're all in, then you have honest dialogue, which can lead to some hurt feelings in the moment, but usually it's also brushed aside very quickly.
Well, after the brush aside physically,
he got grabbed.
Grabbed by the face mask and brought him in. And said,
well,
"Oh no,
we're not doing that." Well, there's a moment in time where you cross a line, and in that situation, that is crossing the line. You can't put your hands on your coach and just push him. You can't. No. Well, and it's not a shove.
It wasn't a shove. It was like
it's a push. It's a push
going to the bench, man.
Right. I don't want to hear it. Well, that's also probably because he knows he was in the wrong. And he didn't want to hear about it. And processing the information as quickly as he did, yes, he recognizes.
Maybe it's for a podcast in a different function, not for these airwaves.
Like an insider page.
Maybe. But, and what an idea that is. That's a cool
we'll have to get on it. Yeah, do some podcast about any number of things.
But the story about Jimbo going back and checking the film.
I can tell that story if he'll let me.
I think years removed now. I mean,
I think
Lord.
he might let me. I've got some stories that if he'll let me, that'll be an interesting podcast. I mean, I've got some really good insight over the years just working with Jimbo and him giving me kind of a rundown of what a player does. And they'll all be positive. He's not going to let me ever trash a player, not sanctioned by him anyhow. And I say this too. And I'm really happy about this because people ask all the time, we do the weekly interview with Jimbo. I get that. It's the Pepsi interview most years. And I do that on Sunday evenings after he's had a chance to watch the film. And so there are aspects of coaches and players over the years that you like, dislike, and whatever. Just some of them are just unique to that individual. My favorite attribute of Coach Fisher's is his undying love for the kids he coaches. I don't say that to be a PR rep. Nobody's telling me to say that. I'll criticize him when I need to criticize him. But I'm telling you because of off-the-record conversations that I've had with him where nobody would be the wiser, he doesn't do it. He won't. He will go to the hilt for his kids. And even when they make obvious errors, he'll allow you to call them out on it. He'll allow you to say, hey, Coach, in that third quarter, this wasn't that a it was he knows you're onto it, and he'll tell you, it was a mistake. He did, and then he maybe will comment on it. If you double down in any way, you're going to get cut off. He's not going to let you do it. It's going to be, but he's a good kid. He's working hard. We'll get it straightened out. He didn't mean to make that mistake. He didn't want to do it. It may have pissed him off in the moment, something fierce. It may have driven him nuts, and he may want to scream from the heavens. He will not do it with a member of the press. Maybe, I don't even know if he does it at home. He loves these kids.
He does. He's like the overbearing team mom. You know, the ones who they got to make sure you get your sponsorship dollars, car wash stuff, and your uniforms are all right, and everybody's on time at practice.
It's a mixture, too, of fatherly, brotherly type.
Like, I got you.
Yeah. But you need that person, though. You do.
But that person, they're not appreciated in the moment. But then
years later,
you're removed from the situation. You go, well, if it wasn't for that bulldog, I mean,
it would have got done.
None of this would have got done.
Well, and I just think, too, you spend so much time recruiting people, going into their living rooms, seeing where they're from, knowing what they've had to overcome in many cases. A lot of these kids are underprivileged in a lot of ways, and whether they're coming from toxic elements or impoverished communities, whatever it might be, you know, they're rooting for the kids because they've been there, they've seen it, and they've gotten the background on all these guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so, you know, when they bring them in, the kid says yes to them, it's a trust, right? And then from there, no matter how much they anger you, if they're trying, you're really not gonna allow for too much in the way of disparaging comment.
That's the one thing, man. I mean, you know,
like if you're trying, then okay.
Most fans don't have a worldview the way that Coach Fisher does, and I'm not even talking about the way he was raised. I'm just saying if you hit the recruiting trail and you have to go to certain parts of the country that these coaches go and find talent, it's like you're on a different planet from a socioeconomic standpoint.
Yeah.
And then you get on the plane and you walk right back into the decadent Doak Campbell Athletic Facility. And, I mean, what do you think? It can't look the same after you make a trip like that. And you see that, you know, there's police presence or there's gang violence going on as you're walking up the front steps and you're trying to tell a mom that her kid's going to be okay under your care for 4 years. I mean, that's why I think there's a higher calling. Like internally for these coaches, it's because they deal with
why
that.
They make the mistakes they make too. Though.
They're on the road all the time, and they're trying to go above and beyond because they know where this kid is going back to if they don't, you know,
if they don't straighten up and fly right. Well, what I hate though too is that if you point that out and we go on this because we've seen it, but at the same time we're also well aware he's handsomely paid and it's important that these kids play well and he continue to make a lot of money and so it's not all just you know, out of the kindness of his heart. Of course, that's true of all coaches. I mean, they need these guys to perform. But it is, in that way, a symbiotic relationship, right? And I'd like to think it's rooted in something beyond the money, beyond the fame, beyond the success on the football field, that there's a little more to it. And I think it usually is. And if it didn't, we'd say it and you'd know it and we would hate it. And that's one of the things that I do like is that it's pretty obvious that even when the cameras aren't on,
right. Okay. People are, you know, wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay, Nick, you're not going to suspend Nick Saban. You're not going to suspend your starting defensive end because he got a DUI because he was sleeping at the wheel of an active but in parked car and he's in the driver's seat asleep. So if he was driving it, you would have suspended him for the game. Like we can argue about that kind of stuff all day long. But I think when it comes to dismissals of players, that's where sometimes I'm not as harsh as everybody. Like where I say, man, if you're dismissing a kid from the program,
you're dismissing him to prison in some cases. What you're doing? I
mean, you're not giving him many options if he has to go back to his neighborhood.
Hey, by the way, that's funny because this is another aside, just an ongoing dialogue we could have. But I can remember if you think back to Bobby Bowden and you think back to, I mean, go to Nebraska with Tom and go to Oklahoma with Barry and go to all these different. I mean, like they're my friends. I'm naming them all by their first name. That's great. When you do Tom Osborne at Nebraska, I sometimes forget how far removed we are from his time as coach at Nebraska, so I should probably use their full names. But anyhow, you know, he stood by Lawrence Phillips. That turned out to be a tragic situation, but his defense was always, if you knew what I knew about that kid and where he was from and what I was going to be releasing him to if I had booted him off the team.
Well, and you see what they've known as their reality and world for 16, 17 years. And it's like, man, okay, if that's what you're raised in for almost 2 decades? What is your value structure going to be? And you expect me to make miracles happen in 2 years? That's a hard part of the job. I'm not weeping for them because they do get paid handsomely.
Yeah, they're not volunteers.
No, like so for somebody at a lower level program, that doesn't expect championships, I'm sure that it's more pure. You can sleep better at night because it's not about the bottom line of winning. It's about building, but still, that is something that has to weigh on these coaches more than just game plans and wins, losses, boosters, and all that stuff.
I think for the most part, even coaches you loathe, that's absolutely true. Even people
even
that
Urban Meyer.
Well, I don't know about him, but I would for most all the others. Urban, I don't know that. We'll see. I mean, I don't think he was keeping Aaron Hernandez around because he felt bad that Aaron would return to crime. I think he liked that Aaron Hernandez was a really good player, and he ignored all kinds of awful crimes.
I actually had a
talk with Jesus.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, that guy doesn't get the pass. Everybody else, though, we'll name that and say, I think that's probably a good thing. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The bank, think Thrifty Nickel. Buying or selling, your best bet is Thrifty Nickel. All ads appear in print and online for maximum results. Place your ad today and ask for their guaranteed results special. Call 385-0505. Get your free copy of American Classifieds, available at hundreds of locations throughout the greater Tallahassee area.
Progressive presents Mindflowness with Flow.
Your aura brims with confidence. The Name Your Price tool has given you policy options based on your budget. A source of great power rises from within, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, that can shoot dragons out of its eyes, riding on a tank.
Get insurance based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The key to success? Keep it simple, especially when it comes to hiring. And nobody makes it easier than Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Manage your candidates from one dashboard. According to an independent study, 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. New users claim your $50 credit to post a sponsored job at Indeed.com/credit. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in Sports History. August 4th, 1993. In the third inning of a game between the Texas Rangers and Chicago White Sox, Nolan Ryan hit third baseman Robin Ventura with the pitch. Instead of going to first base, Ventura charged the mound. Ryan put him in a headlock and landed 6 blows. Ventura was ejected, and Ryan would continue pitching.
ESPN Radio SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer tells ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski that Doc Rivers will no longer have official front office responsibilities. He had been the president of basketball operations in addition to being the head coach. Lawrence Frank will now oversee basketball operations for the Clippers. The Spurs make it official today, signing guard Patty Mills. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports it's a 4-year, $50 million contract. ESPN's Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington report no decision has been made yet, but the Dolphins fear quarterback Ryan Tannehill will need season-ending surgery on his left knee. Head coach Adam Gase says for right now, Matt Moore is the starter if Tannehill is out. Defensive lineman Devin Still signs with the Jets. Still played briefly for the Texans last year before needing season-ending foot surgery.
Brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, get to JCPenney's biggest sale of the season. Find great brands like Levi's 502 regular fit jeans for $39.99. Or get 25% off select styles of Nike tees, shorts, shoes, and backpacks. That's getting your penny's worth. JCPenney.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hey, I wonder if Ryan Green can play wide receiver. We move his ass every which way to Sunday whenever we feel like it.
Team Green.
Come on, Ryan, get out there and play some wide receiver, brother.
2017 being the payoff year.
I bet he could. He's talented. I'm going to hope that he can catch.
He probably would have been a really good player for
a lot of teams in this conference. He'd start for Virginia. He'd start for a number of the teams in this conference, Duke and Wake and all those teams he'd start for easily. Maybe even a Virginia Tech or something. It's just, look, he's really been the victim of an awful lot of bad luck if you look at it from his point of view. To arrive here at a time, as he did, with the running backs that were here or that also committed, I mean, good luck with that. I
think he actually came in the same year as Nate Andrews. We give Nate all the love for being here forever.
Right. But, imagine you're here while Dalvin Cook and Devonta Freeman and, all these people are, good. You got no chance.
Here comes Cam Akers around the corner.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's a toughie, right?
I'll be fresh for the league.
Certainly bad news today for Florida State with the Devante Phillips development. We'll continue to follow it, and as we get more details, figure it out on Monday. It doesn't really sound like, let's just say it's grim, okay? Let me put it that way. I don't like to jump to conclusions. I think we've all learned a lot over the last 5 years alone, both from our football team, university, but I've learned a lot personally, and I think we look around the country and we see, just constant doubt about what is or is not. So I don't like to do that, and I don't like to delve too far into something before we have all the details. But to say it looks grim is, I think, pretty fair, given that if you're going to depend on a guy and then to have him be charged with a felony, that's going to take some time to work out.
Several.
Yeah. That doesn't usually just kind of, sorry about that. It was a mistake. Not always. Every now and then, this sounds like it's, we got some issues here. In regards to him playing. And then that takes us more to the point. Instead of conjecture and speculation, let's get to this. Let's make some assumptions that we can make. And that is that when you are charged with a felony, obviously you're suspended indefinitely. So he's not practicing. He will not be out there with them.
Yep.
He is missing time, period.
Yes, the statement earlier today said as much.
Yeah. So we know this, right? And we also know that he really had kind of fallen into the doghouse for a variety of reasons anyhow. I'm guessing we're never going to see him play here again. My guess, and a fairly educated one at that, right? So moving forward, that was an area where we felt like Florida State was a little thin. And now it's just all the more imperative that one of these youngsters, one of these guys that we're asking to step up and have a good, solid year, they don't have to be superstars, but be a really solid contributor. Well, they got to do that. Now, Keith Gavin could be that guy, and he could end up being great, because the talent says that. We'll see, what does he know? How consistent can he be? Obviously, Naquan's got to be a star. Auden's got to be consistent. If you're going to ask for somebody else, perhaps it's George Campbell. I mean, to find out that he's a full go this week and has been practicing is really beautiful music for a lot of people's ears, because this is a kid that is talented. He just couldn't get on the field. I don't know that I can put all my eggs in his basket and guess that he's going to be productive this year, but he is out there practicing, and he is healthy, so he would be another option. And if it's not him, then you're talking about the freshman. And, you know, that's hard for a lot of those freshmen to get on the field and do things consistently well enough for Jimbo Fisher to trust in him. DJ Matthews could be that kid. A lot of people love him. But, you know, he's 160 pounds.
Yeah, he's wafer thin.
I mean, that's going to be very difficult. The Terry kid that comes in and is very, very big at 6'4", 200-plus pounds. But, again, I don't know. I mean, what does he know?
Weather permitting and they go through with it, that's one person I'm looking forward to seeing at the open practice. I just want to see how he moves, because the size. Everybody said, you know, if you're looking for a sleeper in the class, because Terry was one of those late ads, and then, you know, there were concerns about whether or not he was going to qualify, the whole nine. Well, okay, now that he's here on campus, let's see if he is one of those diamond-in-the-rough type recruit prospects. And that's – but, I mean, damn, is he ready to play in a month?
I don't think so.
That's asking an awful freaking lot.
He didn't early enroll, so, I mean,
right.
That's a tough deal. So, you know, this hurts a little bit. It's not that they were expecting Devante Phillips to be a star, and they didn't think that he's been wildly inconsistent in his time here already. In fact, he's been infinitely frustrating, because the ability and the toughness and the hands and all that allegedly is in play, but no.
Dare I say, Ermon Lane back to wide receiver?
No, because he's actually contributed well in that back end of the secondary there, and is a guy that I would say is somewhat needed.
He triggers downhill, man.
He does. He'll hit your ass. I like him. I like his hard work. He obviously never got it at wide receiver. Whatever the problem was there, he was a great blocker, but he couldn't really catch. And that's kind of a key component to being a wide receiver.
But it's not a name we mentioned when we're talking about the defensive back core and all the options we have back there.
Well, because Derwin James is back there.
And Nate Andrews is back, and Trey Marshall is back after a half. Then you have all your corner prospects. And then you have some of the younger guys like Bruton, but there's Kyle Myers and there's A.J. Westbrook and Levante Taylor. I mean, at what point does Ermon see the field?
I think he's going to play because he contributed well, and he's had a full offseason now to learn it and be it and kind of be entrenched in it. But, you know, that's tough. You're going to yank him away from being a receiver, tell him his best chance to get on the field is to play defense, watch that kid work his ass off, figure it out, play pretty well when given an opportunity, and then in a pinch go, I need you to go back at receiver after I told you that you can't play it.
Well, maybe you give him one of those numbers that he can wear on either side, of the football, and then just say, hey, I need you to play offense because I need you to block the perimeter. I don't care that we're projecting this. You're a hell of a blocker. Go block.
Well, and he can do that. And, you know, my coach, my old high school coach, cracked me up. I mean, I've told the story on the air all the time. Offensive line coaches do this a lot. When their guys are struggling with who to block and, you know, figuring out where they're going on any particular play, coaches have no problem saying, point to the man you're blocking before the ball snap. I don't care that he knows you're going to block him. He still has to do something about it, and you still have to block him. It doesn't make any difference. So Ermon could go up there and I'm blocking that dude right there. Good. All right, let's see what happens. I mean, that's fine. It's okay. If you block him, the play still succeeds. It doesn't matter. And, yeah, we did. Bob Stevens used to say that.
Here comes a bubble behind me.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Can you get to him?
Yeah. I'm going to light your ass up. Here we go.
And then the 1 out of 5 times, you know, it's a double move, and Ermon's wide open. And the question is,
can he catch it?
Does he catch the ball?
All right, here we go. Probables fired up on this Libations Friday.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Woohoo! The Pirates finally beat the Reds last night. Miracle of miracles.
Did you see the walk-off win for the Rockies yesterday?
I didn't.
Okay, so it's bases loaded, 2 outs. It's the Mets. And Familia ends up throwing a pitch like to the netting above the backstop.
Whee!
Yes, that's the end of the game.
Wow, what a way to lose. Disastrous campaign for your Metropolitans.
That was Hansel Robles, sorry. But
yeah. But you want to hate Familia anyhow.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I associate.
Cardinals, Reds, Mike Leake, Asher Wojciechowski. Gotcha, Asher. Tigers, Orioles, Justin Verlander, Kevin Gossman. We got the Padres and the Pirates. God almighty. I wish we could play the best team in baseball. We'd have a chance to win. But when we play the Padres, the Giants, or the Reds, swimming upstream. Travis Wood against Ivan Nova. White Sox, Red Sox, Carlos Rodon, Eduardo Rodriguez goes for the Red Sox. Dodgers, Mets, weird but cool pitching matchup. Yu Darvish goes for the Dodgers, and Jacob DeGrom, you can do it, I take it to beer, goes for the Mets. We got Brewers, Rays, Brandon Woodruff, Jacob Faria goes for the Rays. We've got Yankees, Indians, Jaime Garcia, Trevor Bauer, Marlins, Braves, Adam Connolly, R.A. Dickey. Dickey's looking haggard these days, man. Have you seen his team photo?
Yeah, you don't have many of those probables with R.A. Dickey left, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I'm worried about his lifespan. He looks like he is just tired. Had a good run, Tom. He had a good run to Dickey.
Retiring to Tampa.
Rangers, Twins, Martin Perez, Bartolo Colon, Blue Jays, Astros, Cesar Valdez against Brad Peacock. Mariners, Royals, James, that would be James, not James. Suddenly I was Hispanic. James Paxton goes for the Mariners, and Jason Hamill goes for the Royals.
No relation to Bill Paxton, the late Bill Paxton.
Rest in peace, Bill. Saw a movie, Sunshine State, I think he was in that. I was flipping around, and there he was. I went, damn it, man. Bill's dead. Phillies, Rockies, Vince Velasquez, Kyle Freeland. A's, Angels, Jarrell Cotton, and Troy Scribner. We got D-backs, Giants, Anthony Banda, and Madison Bumgarner. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
You still got something to say. Well, it's all right. Remember to live and live.
Nice advice there from the traveling Wilburys, most of whom are dead. That's not true. That's just not true. I think only one. No, one's dead. One's dead. Two are dead. All right, I was right. Roy Orbison's dead, and Harrison's dead. So yes, two are dead.
Okay. So Harrison was in there. Okay.
Yeah, George Harrison was in there. Yeah. So he's dead.
Petty's in there.
Yeah, Petty's in there. Bob Dylan is in there. The guy from ELO is in there. And those three are all alive. And then the two I mentioned are dead. Who would have thought Dylan would still be around in that group? Yeah, Roy Orbison we knew was on the way out at the time.
The ability to write, man. It keeps him alive.
Keeps him alive, I guess. Yeah, good work out of you. Great work, Matthew. You guys have a wonderful weekend. It should be fun. Little fan day, media day, open practice. All right. Talking to you on Monday. Be well, everybody.